Coming to you live via the interwebs, riding on the backs of 3,000 cats per second. Ben live. You might still be watching our other video. If you're doing that, it'll come up and say, "Hey, live!" Bang, bang, bang. So we're going to go ahead and keep sharing out that video. And making sure. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We got that in. Good deal. Ben Live. If you're joining us, benlive.tv. There you go. Didn't just share that out. I actually shared out the video. If you click on the little red live in the corner there. Well, if you're here, you already have, but you might not be yet. You might be watching the recording. So, Ben Live. Available at your convenience. Persistently in the cloud. That's what we call it now, right? When we're recorded on a server somewhere, we're in the cloud. You can find us there, anytime in the cloud. Lots of hashtag unpaid ads coming to you from Golden Arches here. I'll make sure to cover up this cup a lot, don't worry. We don't like to endorse that one. Again, we're in a reduce, reuse, recycle mode. There's actually chocolate milk in there. TG Lee. Choco, not chocolate milk, sorry, was it? Choco.
Choco Lee.
Choco Lee. Mmm.
Chocolate drink.
Chocolate chocolate drink. That's delicious. So, missed you guys the last couple days. Sorry. Been doing stuff here. Trying to get the webcast set up for you. Unfortunately, we don't yet have the kitties coming to you. We want to get that set up for the other hours of the day when you're, perhaps doing things that aren't watching us live. Those other 21 hours of the day. If you aren't just watching a loop of the 3-hour recording, granted, you could watch it, 8 times a day if you tried. So, I wouldn't recommend it personally. I'm not doing that. But if that's what you're into, if you enjoy your Ben Live that much, benlive.tv, run us on a loop, and your nightmares will be persistent and daily. Is that what you want? That's what you like, right? That's what people are investing their lives in. Toil. If I didn't have something to do with my time, like what? You don't have anything to do with your nothing, really? You can't think of your own thing to do with your time, really? That's well, all right. I can think of lots of things to do. I would just sit here on the internet and talk to myself. For starters, talk that stupid waffle in house. Just over there in the corner, not engaging. Probably looking up Ben Carson stuff. Doing a little internet research.
No, I was looking at Sue.
Oh, looking at the Sue. That's good. We like that. I'm checking in on the old stalwart in that market. I see that you shared the live intro. Hopefully that played well. Hopefully that worked out. And so if you're viewing that video, if you see that out there, it should have the live because we're live now at 9. So once you're watching it during these 3 hours, it's there. And then if not, it should bring you into some follow-up, other stuff from us. So let's see here. Ben Live intro with the YouTubes via the @YouTubes. Let's go ahead and pin that to the profile page for now, too. That was why we created that one, and I think I actually deployed that. I probably need to refresh. Let me bring up the screencast for you. Oh, yeah, there you go. Ben Live intro. And look what thumbnail it shows.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. And look at that, live now. That's helpful. We like that. Ben Live. Pre-recorded via the interwebs. Indeedly do. Wow, that actually worked. I kind of just threw that together at the last second there. I hope everyone appreciates the sort of real-time ninjutsu we perform. Oh. Is that racist? Is it probably racist? Political correctness. That's the thing we wanted to get into. How that's often used as nobody laughs at my joke because they're just too PC. And then it's like, well, no, you're just, people don't laugh at that stuff because it's not funny anymore. Like, we don't think that's funny anymore. That's like, don't be mean to those people who are marginalized by, you know, our government and our society and the dominant religion in our country. And, you know, it's not fun to make fun of the marginalized people. That's not funny. You know, and, you know, the constant misogyny and reinforcing of patriarchal stereotypes and this sort of thing. Like, why don't these college crowds laugh at my jokes? Like, well, because they took women's studies and
It was like, what was it, the remake
awkward.
of 21 Jump Street?
I didn't watch that.
We saw that.
Did we?
Seth Rogen?
Oh, the first one. Yeah, we didn't watch there's another one, I think.
There's
I think
a new one. Yeah, but no, when they go to the high school and they're actually
Jonah
like,
Hill, you mean?
Jonah Hill.
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
sorry,
yeah.
folks.
Oh, they
Sorry.
were freaking out on the IMDb's, was just blowing up the servers,
yeah.
just wow, flames. Seth Rogen, my now they're yelling at me. He was in there. No, yeah. So the Jonah Hill and I believe Channing Tatum.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and they were acting like.
Don't
they
ask
did
how that's ingrained in my
back
mind.
in
Just
back
accept
in
that it
high
is.
school, and that wasn't cool anymore.
Wasn't cool anymore, right? They learned that lesson
Oh,
the
they
hard
made
way.
fun of the gay kid and.
Right.
And
Well, that's the thing. So, you know, the
or
people who are,
something.
yeah, the people who are actively marginalized, like, you know, the homosexuals and techno fans. Right. Yeah. It's not cool anymore, guys. Nobody thinks your jokes are funny. I mean, the reality is, like, I've seen there are, you know, obviously there's, you know, a group of old timers anywhere you go. Go tell your joke. Find your audience, you know. It's maybe time for these middle-aged comedians to move on from college campus tours and start touring the washed-up bar scene. Find your audience, you know. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to censor you. I'm just saying don't blame political correctness. Just go find your audience. They've moved on. They're not in school anymore. And the people in school are learning new and different ideas that, you know, maybe you don't want to adopt. That's fine. Okay, sure. I'm into adapting and learning the new stuff. And what? That's a cool way to think. All right, yeah, I like that. Yeah, all right. I never looked at it that way. You know, open-minded sort of thing. But whatever. That's not what we're into. We're not going to be tyrannical about our open-mindedness here on Ben Live. But it's encouraged. Recommended. Strongly recommended. Did I share this one out? I did on there, right? I definitely... Did it not get on there? Oh, no, because that's definitely... There's no API for that guy. Sorry, friends and family on the main network. I was so caught up in my video upload, I forgot that you haven't been invited to that party, which was an interesting thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're new to the program for some reason at this point, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining BenLive.tv. And I'm talking about Sue, Monetized Social Network, that is actually getting some mainstream attention recently. And I'll see if I can't switch over to that for you. Look there. And I need to paste in my video, which unfortunately I actually used that link earlier as I attempted to. So you can see there, verified in real time, the server on Sue does have the old, unupdated info. So you can tell that I actually was there. So let me go and refresh that. And let me go and pull the embed link, which would actually be different text. But that would allow us to go over here. And so our Sue family might be a little bit late joining us today, but that's fine. That's all right. We're going to be here all, you know, relaxed 3 hours. Oh, the kitties. I like that it chose that. I'm okay with it. I'm just going to leave that there. So we'll delete the address out. We'll go with the Ben Live intro. And we'll add in a title. And we'll just say, we're live. Was it Saturday morning? I am not, in fact, a cartoon. I'm not in fact a cartoon. I will be curiously exploring. Whoops. Sorry, forgive me. There's a kitty occupying me. In fact, I think she's moved enough. I can get up here and get a little bit. Get a little more computery for you. I'm not, in fact, a cartoon. I will be curiously exploring what about the GOP, the grand old party for starters. Let's address that one. Let's get on top of that one. So I will be curiously exploring what about the GOP is supposed to be appealing to millennial. So we're live on Saturday morning. I'm not, in fact, a cartoon. I will be curiously exploring what about the GOP is supposed to be appealing to a millennial. Right? Also worth noting. Hashtag GrowCats. Remind me to add that tag to the video, by the way.
Yeah, you should remind. I'm supposed to remind you to add that tag to the video.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I love the real-time responsiveness. That's the most helpful way to do that.
You did say
Hey, that's probably the only time I can guarantee I'll get the reminder. So thank you. Instant delivery. Perfect. So we're live on Saturday morning. I'm not, in fact, a cartoon, although some days I feel like it. I think last night, if you encountered me in Meat Space, you might yourself think that he is a cartoon, isn't he? I was, in fact, going with, let's be an excellent customer service representative this evening. What can I do for you? Happy to help.
Are you being Myrna?
I was Myrna. I flipped on the script. I went corporate robot mode because some days it's just fun to just show what I could do every single day. If it was really just worth doing, I could just, sure, absolutely. I will act in that stage play of a miserable show. And I will just step it up to the next level. Just turn on the positive, optimistic, yay life sort of mentality. BenLive.tv. Check us out. Enjoy it. Tell your friends. I'm not, in fact, a cartoon. I will be curiously exploring what about the GOP is supposed to be appealing to a millennial. Because I'm curious. We're going to explore Ben Carson a little bit. Because I think he's hashtag liable. I think he's a sociopath. That might be unfounded, but anyone.
I'm like terrified of this guy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried. It's not a judgment thing. I'm just saying that it's a high stress position. This is a high stress position we're talking about. And perhaps somebody, if you feel the need to severely modulate your voice and your mannerisms, you're kind of like holding back something that maybe we don't want someone on the brink of letting loose behind the button, or maybe just something, I don't know, it's just abandoned, just vacant, abandoned. I don't know. It's scary. It's scary. No, whatever. Okay, I'm not saying in real life, by all means, do whatever you do, but maybe not. Arguably, the most powerful position on the planet. Arguably, but in the conversation, definitely in the conversation. You know what I'm talking about? It's worth discussing, right? So, jump back up to our screencast. Hashtag GrowCats. And I don't even need to. See, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. I don't even need to include the link. It becomes redundant to include the link there because, I mean, if they want to, they're going to play the video, and the video will show that I'm live right there, and you can watch the cats, and you can enjoy the pre-recorded stuff, by all means, at your leisure. enjoy this at your leisure. Maybe I'll put this. Maybe I'll go back and I'll play On Ben Live during the broadcast full screen for you. The video we just did, there you go. So it'll be recursive and you won't miss it. So you can watch this now. If you jumped into the recording live and you're like, I'm going to have to go back and watch the rest of that intro. That looked good. No, don't worry about it. We'll get to that. We're here until noon, 9 to noon. The days that I'm doing this, you know what I mean? Some days, me time. Can't always be live on the internet. Sometimes you have to be preparing content to deliver live on the internet, for instance, right? And, because I'm not just hanging out sleeping, all you lazy folk out there sleeping every night. While you're sleeping, I'm at work. So think of it that way. When you see me on here drinking before noon, chocolate milk today, by the way. But some days, you never know. When you see me on here and it's 9 a.m. and you're like, whoa, that's 9 p.m. in my world. I live the third shift life. Well, you're just lazing about in bed, resting for your next day of work. I'm working. And I actually sleep when you're probably just hanging out. So there. So I go to work while you're at work. And then I work while you're at sleep. And I sleep while you're having fun. That's fun for me, right? Yeah, that's great. That's a good time. So sometimes I like to take a couple of days to hang out with some kittens. Hang out with some stupid waffles. Right? That's always fun. I like that. Attempt to have some delicious Chinese food. Give it a go.
I like delicious Chinese.
True statements. Thank you for the positive affirmation. So yeah, unfortunately, what I'm doing right now is bringing you this broadcast on the university level laptop that enabled the computer studies and such. Okay, what I'm trying to do in the other room is resurrect via the hashtag zombie life the old Acer that I used when I was in the local community college setting, and it was more of a functionality word processing internet machine sort of deal, which was pretty good. I mean, it's still a 64-bit processor. I think that's some of the issue, is that initially I had set it up with a 32-bit operating system. Despite the fact that it was a 64-bit processor, there just wasn't really the prevalence of the applications to utilize it. And so it was running, and it was up to Windows 7, but I had just upgraded on top of it, and I was always just stuck into that 32. And once again, I was stuck into that 32. And so I got somebody who's got a clean install 64, Windows 10 ISO 64, ready to go. And it's already, it's registered. They're not doing anything, dark net here. This is totally above board, legit, paid for. They told us we could do this for free within a year, and the device seems to be, it's got a 64-bit processor for starters, so you got to consider if they're going to run this on, things, if they're going to run this out of your pocket, then, and this guy's, it's a little bit older, obviously, but hopefully we'll be able to get that set up on the Windows 10, and from there, going to bring in the Open Broadcaster, going to bring some open source, maybe even some Blender. I was running Blender on that one originally, so it could be a kind of a rendering station as well, but our real workload on that one's going to be a live feed of the not so hashtag feral anymore, and kind enough to not scream out for their mother during our broadcast. Very kind of them. No, so she's still around, you know what I mean? She still lives in the yard, and she comes up to the window, and she knows, they see each other. They're right there. I go out there and I see, I'm like, hi, how's it going?
Nothing we can do.
There's nothing we can do about this. Like, they're in America now. They've come to a better life. You wanted this for them. Trust us. She's kind of she doesn't have the ability to help them in the way that we do. And that she'd want this. If she could she'd want this, we think. It's just that poor fluffy one. The fluffy one just can't be an outside cat. And for its sibling there to come with it is really the best way to help them socialize and acclimate to human life, living as pets in the human world instead of just street cats on their own guile. They're going to just we're going to teach them stuff. We're going to make sure that they're engaged and advancing and growing. Like I'm legit thinking, we teach the cats, man. Moose does some stuff. He knows some tricks. Like, he's smart. So we're going to get these ones a little younger and make them very desirable. That's the goal. I think that people are going to want to adopt these guys. think they're going to be a high interest because, I mean, they're feral. They got street smarts. You know, you can't just fake that, right? They've had to kind of.
They're very smart.
It's what's keeping them going. They have to be smart. They wouldn't be here still if they weren't, the help of their mother kitty there also, obviously, that helped. And then the support of the feeding them daily from the stupid waffle, that's really helpful. Right? They definitely had their food source from birth, I think. She's been a part of their lives, and I've been out there, we've been out there kind of as soon as they were visible, and maybe to the detriment somewhat, because it's kind of it encouraged her to maybe relocate them to where they were a little bit less safe, a little bit around vehicles.
For mothers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially in the wild like that, of course, yeah.
Well, the other feral cats started going to where I was feeding her and the kittens.
Right.
She didn't like that.
No, I mean, understandably so. So let's go ahead and jump to the screencast, because I told you I'd do this, and we'll go ahead and get it out of the way early for you. If you're watching the recording or what time is relevant to you. Ooh, what just happened? It's somewhat relevant. Our position in the universe, that is that fourth dimension. It's just kind of, and we use it as an indicator, sort of a measuring stick for our inevitable degradation and wear and mileage as we struggle against gravity and hang by our feet on this rock that we think we're standing on top of as mighty titans, But let's stay in our place here. Let's keep things in perspective. Let's watch the Ben Live intro, right? Let's be recursive, and let's show it to you. Let me bring up the audio for you so you can hear it, and let me drop mine. You pre-recorded via the interwebs at whatever speed you have available. You're watching Ben Live? Hashtag good friend in the studio, ready to go. It's about 8:45 a.m. We're going to try to get this recorded and ready to go here. So we're going to be talking about some political stuff today. Going to be talking about why should I be a Republican? What is it that your party has to offer again? Explain to me your stance on the issues, because I'm kind of unclear on a lot of stuff. And really? Ben Carson? That's what you have to offer? So yeah, that'll be fun. We'll be talking about that sort of entertaining aspect of the political circus and such. Hey there, Lump. Look at that. Our regular kitties. But you've been wanting to see some feral kitties. Last couple days, I've been trying to get the alternate video feed set up. We're working on that. It's coming. I had some issues, though. Unfortunately, our older computer was not as willing to accept Windows 10 as the newer computer. So, I don't know. Hey, $1,500. Send it our way. You can contribute benlive.tv. $1,500 buys us a new Surface. We'll broadcast from that, and we'll put this old computer in there to show you the cats the other 21 hours out of the day, if you're into that. But either way, I'm working on getting the Windows 10. I got a disk on the way, and I'm going to try to get it set up with our no less than ideal older system. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you what you've been waiting for, some videos of the hashtag feral, the cats formerly known, the kittens formerly known as hashtag feral. And I'm going to go to mute and let you listen to some of this video, which actually I don't think there's sound except for on the last one. But anyway, here's some cat videos for you. The good kitties. I think the fluffy one just started crying out, and so Amanda had to respond. Do some cat herding. 9:25 a.m. Always on the clock, on call. Cat herding. We're thinking about calling this one Brutus. He seems to be a bit stoic. Not sure if he's just tired or malnourished. Hopefully getting back to health from wherever their adventures were. But he's Stripey. We call him Stripey up until now. But I'm thinking Etu. That's what the file names are. Etu. I had to mute. I didn't want to talk over that. So there you have it. That's what you've been waiting for. I'm going to go ahead and package this video on out and hopefully test our packaged video delivery system, distribution system. And it's 8:47 a.m. I'm going to put this one live on the site, hopefully. Maybe I'll be able to deploy that in time as well. And 9 a.m. Eastern until noon, coming to you, benlive.tv on the YouTubes. Tune in on the YouTubes. And I don't know, be talking about politics, showing you some cats, and just kind of Ben Live, relax, Saturday morning broadcast. And, tune in. So that was fun, right? Put out that video for you. Might have been a little bit late. A little bit late. Should have started a little bit earlier, but I had to bring over the videos, had to capture some videos there. I mean, that's fresh content. I was just in there, right there. Got them for you. On the phone, brought them on over. Didn't even really do much editing, just threw it out there, but I had to set up the broadcast. That was my goal for today. I want to rapidly deploy an enhancement for the Ben Live content distribution channel and package video, right? Yeah, seriously, package video. So went to the broadcaster settings there, set it up. We got me a video input sort of scene over there, and so just ran that in, just threw it right in there for you. And might have thrown us a little bit of loop. Might have, if you noticed, if you're regular viewers, we pulled a 901 again. We occasionally pull a 901 because there's sometimes a last second sort of deal there. But we were pushing out that video, and for most people probably could have just been watching the video, and then whoa, it came up live. Hey, what do you know? So might have actually been beneficial timing, be cutting it to the wire, putting it right at the last second there. But contemplate doing some Blender stuff. Thought maybe no. Pushing it a little bit too much. Trying to do a little too much. So probably going to get some Blender stuff for you coming later. But like I said, last couple days, had to take some time to really reflect on where my priorities are when selecting a candidate, for instance, or investing my time in this broadcast, Ben Live, on my shirt. And my other skills, because I got skills. Technical writer really is the broad umbrella. Tech writer! My focus, though, really, I was actually an English major focused in creative writing with a minor in information science. So user interaction, computer interfaces, application interface design, theory. We're really getting into new input devices, 3D scan technology, 3D rendering here for the more immersive, engaging, less obstructive computer interaction level. Okay, that's what I was trained to do, and I'm a full-time registered jockey by night. Maybe I'm just not even. I gotta look at. I gotta reevaluate what I'm doing there, because they finally came with this. The ostrich method of student loan repayment finally caught up. Believe it or not, burying your head in the sand is not an effective method of repaying your student loans. But I was already throwing it together on just it's not enough. It's not enough. And then when you consider that, I mean, I am going to have to be making repayments in this. I mean, and it's going to be a significant figure because I've made a significant investment, and that took technological resources, that took software, that a lot of things go into being a growth hacker. Being the sort of person who's already doing the thing that they can't teach us. They're not teaching this. I have to kind of build the education model myself. I mean, maybe by now they are, but I have to kind of throw it together and assemble. And I ran into some issues with some fall-through courses and stuff like that. And, it's just ridiculous the way it's set up right now. I just think it's insanity. And I just wasn't, I was there. It wasn't that long ago I was there. I think there's a better way to do it. I think that we have the resources and the technology and the interaction is there. It's already there. We just have to kind of scale it out and utilize it. Resources like SitePoint, I have a lifetime membership there for front-end web development resources. The Code Academy, free resource, HTML5, CSS3. If you want to get the front-end web stuff also, Mozilla.org, you know, your Firefox people over there, they have a developer network. You know, obviously your big guys, your Googles and your Microsofts, they've got their developer networks. Facebook coming on strong. Facebook has a lot of GitHub sorts of things. And by the way, if you're into coding, or even if you think that coding might be a thing you want to do, go ahead and figure out Git. Start off with that. Get the Git right from the Git. No, yeah, seriously though, get on that. If you want to do anything at the application level, you have to just jump over there. Don't get me wrong, I'm no Git guru by any means, but I understand the value that version control and active version control and just file curation. I was going over that earlier with Manda when we were discussing the videos. We were inputting the videos. I was adding a tag. For starters, I set up the hierarchy so that they would import in a delineated way, and an effective way to do that when you're dealing with video is it is a fourth dimensional capture, and so you've got your 2015, and then you can extract down from there into, you know, I think these were October, one of them in November, where we are now, and then from there you can get into the 7th, as the case may be, and so you've got it, you know, delineated down each time. You've got a more refined level already within your existing file name structure. And then you've got, you know, your name and your instance of that name and such. But in addition to that, we put the tags in there. We utilized the tags, and the tags were with the import date. And I brought that in. So that way, we knew when we brought it in, and I put a Ben Live tag on there so I knew what day it went Ben Live. And then using that Ben Live, I was able to find it locally easily. So when you're dealing with shared resources and you're dealing with a lot of cloud activity and that sort of thing, it's helpful to be your own librarian. Essentially, that's what information science is. It's data management. It's data access. We have just a treasure trove of knowledge available, and a lot of it is inaccessible. A lot of it's unavailable still. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, a ton of it's been lifted out because, you know, algorithms like Google just, you know, but there are limitations. And so, you know, from one approach, you have the attempt to modernize and bring into alignment with these sort of algorithm techniques existing content, but also you have to go beyond that and go out there and seek out the stuff that you're looking for. And so, you know, when we move into where BenLive.tv is going, I really want to have a full immersive activity there. You know, I want there to be an advantage to be at BenLive.tv versus being at the YouTube right now. Right now, currently, we want you at the YouTube. I want you viewing us on the YouTube, getting that ad revenue. I mean, let's face it, let's be realistic here. We're trying to open up some revenue streams so we can get these sorts of upgrades. I mean, it'd be really fun for us to just have the new computer instead of having to, you know, growth hack my old laptop into some sort of existing casting station here. And I might be, if this fails, if I can't go on the top end, the real software, which I already own this is already legitimate. I mean, there's a Windows 7 on that chipset. I don't think it was native. I think it was probably Vista or something. I don't know. Maybe it was Windows 7. Anyway, it was when I just updated it to 10. And from there, so it's already got the authorization. It should be allowed to do this, and hopefully it'll function. I checked the requirements. It should be good to go, but it's also been idle for a while. Has some, you know, clock issues. But in the meantime, we're going to go with the packaged video method. And so, you know, we got that going. And yeah, so I'd like to be a small business. Okay, so I would like BenLive.tv to grow revenue streams and have sort of a product service combination delivery there, where, you know, we can have some white papers for you. We can have some videos, some screencasts, some assistance in that matter, some general tech support available, that sort of thing. I want to make that possible here. Viewing us right now on the YouTube, that's going to help do that. It's going to help us enhance that. Going over to BenLive.tv, just putting in the loot. Hey, appreciate you. I like loot. I like loot as much as the next guy. You know what I mean? God got the resource I need to survive. God, I got no choice. Not saying we literally got the gun to their head, but you know what I'm saying. It is what it is. Not trying to starve out there. Just trying to get through it. Right? Hashtag good friend. Gotta eat, right? Good friends gotta eat. Good friends gotta eat. Oh, Ben Carson on the front page of the HuffPost. That's great. That's quality content. Probably not going to jump over to that sort of branded content, but I will. Let me see. Did we get some Sue? I think I had some notifications there, mostly posts. Maybe like that. Videos out there. I think it was you sent the email, right? So I'm gonna take a look.
Lots of emails.
Oh, that's fancy. I guess I'll bring that up in the off-screen tab, and we'll take a look there. We're gonna visit. If you're paying attention to the preview, if you watched the intro video that I hope you did, and I just played for you. If you enjoy that, oh, is it not doing the thing that I want it to do? There we go. Yes, you did. Oh, we got some daily earnings too. $40 from November 3rd. That's nice. That is nice. Empower. We got to check in more with Empower. I'm telling you, we're looking at, you know, dollars and dollars to the tune of. I mean, I only turn over 70 a day in the real world. If I'm turning 40 in the virtual world in idle time, imagine what active time is going to do. I mean, I should turn it on that one. That's for sure. For sure. So just a little bit of revenue stream opened up on the fan contributions and the various outlets would really, we'll extend that into some Empower activity. That's great. So I'll pull that one up and we'll just go to the big screen here for you. And we're looking at, okay, what is it about the current GOP grand old party? Okay, what is it about the current idea of republicanism that should appeal to millennials? Okay, and for starters, we have to understand the perspective of people who, you know, grew up in possibly traditional, more conservative households in, you know, the 90s and saw, you know, the early 2000s and were aware of just kind of the full scope of this rigged political system, this really just centrist, like, money idea that ignores just what people really want. It's just it serves corporate interests, and that's just the reality of it. I mean, that's who's benefiting, and so you know, we've seen it happen. We've watched them. You know, we've watched these so-called fiscal conservatives willingly engage in what they know to be billions and billions of dollars of expenditures in wars in the desert that, although, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, something has to happen out there. Like, you have to have some level of involvement. But there's a certain level there that we've exceeded, and, you know, was just not justified. I'm sorry, it just was not justified, and it hurt us in a lot of ways. And so, you know, until we can kind of move forward and talk about that, you know, we're in a lot of trouble. Like, we're abandoned by this idea of, you know, we don't want a massive, intrusive government. We want a healthy, thriving middle class. We want to go to work for a living. Sure, yeah, that's fine. It's okay. It's all right to work for a living and feel like you contribute, but it's not okay to work for a living and not have a living in exchange for that, to where you're able to just willingly and healthfully decide to continue to move forward and contributing on a daily basis. You know, it's like, how can you feel like a mutually invested participant in this grand old party if they want to completely you know, move away from, you know, ideas of personal freedom and you know, if they're going to support you know, conservative values over essential liberty and ideas of, you know, it's not my place to say what you can or can't do in your interpersonal life, in your very personal life, in your what you do in your mind space, what you do to your brain. You know, that's not my business. Okay, you know, and there's certain awareness that people should have at a young age, you know, at an appropriate age, so that they can make knowledgeable decisions about what they want to engage in. I don't think that propaganda machines and, you know, conservative values should be what leads that discussion, because the fact of the matter is, like, yeah, okay, of course, yeah, I'm a moral person. I like to be upright and do good, of course. Sure, I would hope that goes without saying, regardless of which sort of outfit you want to put on Santa Claus. You know, okay, sure, fine. All right. Okay. So I switched over and then it came back. So this is more of a blip, more of a little bit of a drop there. Just a threat, just a shot across the bow. Sorry about that. Anyway, so the thing is, all right, I would like to be just a thriving middle, upwardly mobile, upward middle class sort of. You know, as I move into my 30s, there was a certain level that I would like to attain. You know, obviously, you know. And I think that the BenLive.tv, I think there's a good outlet there. I think there's a good opportunity there. I think I have some interesting things to share here. The sooner we make that possible, obviously, the more I produce. You know, I have to make the decision. Do I go on 3 hours every day, or do I take 3 hours and the hours around it that it takes to put on those 3 hours and just say, you know, oh, all right, I got to take some time for me. I got to take some time for, you know, us here in house and pet some kitties. You know. You know, and so the last couple of days have been some feel like I'm trying to be misled from that. I feel like they're trying to say, no, pay attention to these things, but I'm like, well, can we address the fact that your stances on the issues don't impact my economic viability in a positive way? I feel like I'm directly. I get it's a great theory that you know wonderful profits and investment capital being available is good for the economy, but when it's not being put back in the system, when it's not being reinvested in any more than is the bare minimum legal standard, then we have to either increase the bare minimum legal standard, or we have to put in some other system where, you know, when you get to a certain level of growth there economically, where it's just beyond necessary resources for one human family, one reasonable existence. I mean, you know, how many millions of dollars can you reasonably say somebody should earn in income a year without it being taxed really heavily? I mean, really heavily. Let's face it. That's a lot of loot that just you know, can just be re-injected, and it's going to benefit them. And if it's going to be equal across the field there, to where everyone at that level has to do that, it still enables, you know, their sort of slap it on the table, my yacht's bigger than yours contest. So, you know, we can still have unchecked, unreasonable growth within a system that doesn't have a base level working class that's in poverty. You know, we can keep the charade going up here on the chart instead of letting it dangle and bounce along the ground like that, because that's really inhumane. Okay, and I think that's in line with true conservative values that are supposed to be a tenet of the red team's philosophy here. And so I'm curious why, and don't get me wrong, I'm not ironically stumping for blue here. I'm genuinely curious, what am I missing out on here that's supposed to appeal to me and say, you know, no, at Ben McNulty, you should be a part of the red team. You know, you should be, you know, Ben living at Trump rallies in support of the ideas and the policies that he will bring to the table. But that's not even where the main party is. That's not even what the RNC and the establishment is. They want to back Jeb Bush, which I think is just completely out of touch with a very old sentiment. I mean, the town crier is showing up because, let's face it, they're trying to put families in place. It's a monarchy. If you got a Bush versus Clinton ticket, and that would be very much favorable to the establishment and the moneyed powers that be. Go back to England. That's monarchy. I don't want that. That's just blatant. I mean, don't get me wrong. What we have is some sort of corporatocracy sort of thing that's horrible as it is, but we certainly don't want to just be that blatant about it. You know, at least pretend and put up a new family of obvious stooges for your causes, you know? And that's the problem, okay? And so I've been saying, you know, Trump versus Bernie, no old money, right? Okay, that's legit. Put those options on the ticket, because I don't trust them to put both on the ticket. And if we could get both on the ticket, then I think that'd be a real have it out sort of opportunity. But what I'm saying is, regardless of which side you're on, you can play for Team Purple. You can play for red, blue, purple, green. Hey, what about Team Green? They're still in it, right? They really threw a curveball in 2000, didn't they? Yeah. You can play for whatever team you want. All I'm saying is if Trump versus Bernie, and just let that be the thing. Let both parties understand that whichever one's on the ticket, that's the one you're voting for. So they better give us both. You better have both, or each party's just ruining themselves. You know, if the blue team's like, no, Hillary is our person, and be like, well, Trump is what you get. And if red team is insistent that they want Ben Carson, then you're going to see some Bernie. It's going to be Bernie time. And that's the reality that we need. And if neither of them are on the ticket, well, Trump, everyone can spell Trump. Everyone can spell Trump. I think it's reasonable. And I don't understand what it is about, the grand old party and their political system. Don't get me wrong, we'll get to blue team. We will get to blue team. But the real local influence, the real environmental influence for me, and up through my entire upbringing as well, throughout time and local space, I am told that I should be playing for Team Red here in this game. And I'm curious because it looks like a purple game that's fighting over green to me. But, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not seeing the bigger picture. And so bring that to me. We're going to have this discussion for a few days here. We like to keep ongoing discussions. That way we can check back in on the social media feeds. You can use the hashtag BenLive. I think with hashtag GrowCats, if that's what you want to talk about, if that's where you want to get in there. And, anything, just use the hashtag BenLive because you can use any sort of hilarious, politics are a scam hashtag you want on that one. We'll give you free reign there. Sometimes we don't have to use hashtags just as a conversation. We just have to use it as a hilarious idea that, like, this should be a conversation we have, crony politics, old money, bought system, bought government, audit the Fed, what? Right? So, we can use our social media management that we talk about here. We can talk about our growth hacking skills to increase our audience. Put those things to use. If that's the thing you need, if your personal brand is looking to expand, if you need to invest limited resources, limited budgets in maximum growth, maximum exposure, want to get your brand in front of eyeballs, benlive.tv. Going to help you to do that. Hopefully. Trying to do it for ourselves and figure while we're at that, while we're doing that thing, we should develop the processes necessary to repeatedly do it. So that way our time invested in benlive.tv is invested in at Ben McNulty, invested in at Stupid Waffle, invested in our lives, in our ongoing personal brand, personal growth here, studio growth, and our menagerie here, our potential revolving outlet of menagerie elsewhere. We're thinking that might be a fun thing to do. I like the idea of socializing animals. I really enjoy getting to their level and trying to engage with them, and see what's going on there, see what's ticking, and try to understand it. It's really fun. It's a really interesting, dare I say, psychological experiment. So I don't know. It's got its ups and its downs. I'm sure it can be wearing and tiring. We'll take some breaks and we'll do some other things. I think that maybe Monday night's change of pace might be very welcome if we can pull it together on Monday. I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. We've been looking forward to this one for a while. And hopefully, most anticipated game of what, decade? Couple decades here? I mean, it's been rumored, it's been falsified, it's been... say what you want, believe what you want. It's on deck to be downloaded. We're going to get it set up. The system's not here, but we're bringing it in to borrow it. So it's going to be a telethon, all right? If you're going to be tuning in for Monday night's overnight broadcast of what by now you can hopefully decipher will be some sort of game cast, maybe, of a new title, right? Going to take an interesting look at it. Going to take a storied look at it. Going to take the narrative art form to enhance the content in a truly dynamic experience sort of way. And just going to bring that to you live on the internet so that it's available for you. Going to have it recorded. You have to kind of package off pieces as we go there so that you can tune in at your convenience, at your leisure. I'm going to try to put together as much as I can there in a couple of days. with obvious consideration for, health and well-being. Nothing like chocolate
drink.
Chocolate drink. Nothing quite like that to really get the palate ready to talk about Ben Carson. So this is the guy. The Iowa caucus is predicting, the polls are predicting, leading the GOP field, gonna be the one that maybe takes that early lead, that early, establishment. Yeah, they might start putting their money there instead of just throwing it at Jeb.
So his theory about the pyramids there, if you can find that information.
Built to store grain and not as tombs. Is that so, Joseph? I think that's.
Well, no, scientists know 100% that that's not true.
Well, yeah, obviously. Well, no, that would be crazy. Okay, I'm going to give you an excerpt here. I'm reading from the Huffington Post. It's an excerpt. This is a quote. I believe that they've quoted it here from Ben Carson. My own personal theory is that Joseph built the pyramids to store grain. Now, all the archaeologists think that they were made for the pharaoh's graves, but something to store that grain, paraphrased, added in there by the Huffington Post for clarification, would have to be something awfully big if you stop and think about it. But I didn't realize that he was speculating in this area, but this is scientifically known to not be the truth there. But he clarified in the speech that he didn't think the pyramids were built by aliens, and I think it's interesting that he's like, well, that would just be crazy talk, but they're obviously used to store grain. That's false. False. And so somebody who has that just base level misunderstanding of reality is a scary option, I think, is the point we're getting to today. Not only does he have the overly modulated, direct, too considered pacing and phrasing, yet he still says crazy stuff. And so it makes you wonder, is he thinking it through and still going, yeah, that's what a sane person would say? Because there's a scary look in that guy's eyes. I'm sorry, I don't mean to say it, I don't mean if that's beautiful.
Look at him.
Yeah, it's not, I don't know. If that's the best they got, I don't see what the appeal is there. It's very, he's a neuroscientist. I feel like they're just touting that one thing there, but he's the one that left the sponge in the brain, right?
I could not find a quote of that, but I did read an article at some point. I guess he's had a lot of malpractice.
A considerable amount of malpractice. That would be a statistically significant amount. You would.
Well, in his excuse.
# liable. We'll speculate it.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Hey, it's fine. My life is a satire.
I guess what he said is that, when you've done a certain number of brain surgeries, you're bound to leave a sponge in here. Sure.
It's inevitable. That's just statistics. You do enough brain surgeries, you leave a sponge. Now, I would consider maybe the alternative would be that a significant number of sponges are left by very few, and # Comcast is going to fail for us, so... Guess it. Well, just a bump in the road, huh, Comcast? So, very few people, doctors, are probably leaving a greater number of sponges, and that would skew the statistics. So it would make it appear that a larger population is sometimes leaving a sponge in. But I think that the greater likelihood is that a smaller portion of the population is leaving too many sponges. It really got to stop leaving sponges in there, and he's a sponge leaver.
Well, I guess we can think about it this way, okay, you work in an office and you have a refrigerator that you share with all your coworkers. And there's food disappearing from
Right.
it.
Food is disappearing from your shared refrigerator.
Is everybody just sometimes taking food? Or is there one person who's taking food?
Right. Is there one person who's just like, this is where food comes from, I'll go there and take it.
because I've worked with that guy and I've labeled my food and
sexism.
Then
yeah, not just it's reality anecdote.
We actually we caught the culprit. So
caught the culprit. That guy.
We know who is
typical that guy behavior. Toaster strudel thief.
So
toaster strudler.
You know, you can put your name on it, but
right. That's the thing. If somebody is
gonna leave that sponge in your brain.
Right. They know it's your brain, but they're still going to leave the sponge there because they don't have that sort of consideration or regard for, you know, your open skull there on the table. I don't know. Probably not the guy I want on the button. I mean, you know, sometimes you and press it. That's just statistics, right? Everyone eventually is just going to sneeze and accidentally open the lid and turn the key and call in the numbers once in a while.
Well, they just keep catching him in these.
I hope I'm not too close to the actual protocol there because I don't know that. I'm just speculating.
In one of these articles that I've seen,
lies repeatedly. Yeah, I have a number of them here.
He's claiming to have gone to a certain school. Excellent facts, ladies and details.
No, that's fine. I like just blind speculation. That's basically what we do here in the BenLive.tv political punditry realm here on our Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings.
I've had to scan over a lot of data, and so I just absorbed.
Right, you've just got some factoids and some sort of you know. I'm pulling it here. I got it up on the screen there. I'm not bringing it for you guys because I prefer not to just rebroadcast the rebroadcasters, but I'm going to get that content for you.
So he said he had a scholarship to the school and applied there and everything, and somebody else, you know, they did some fact checking and he did not.
He did not, in fact, have the scholarship or go to the school.
No.
He did not have the scholarship
according to the school.
According to the school. According to what we would consider a more verifiable record holder, evidence bearer, the school itself, we would say that they probably have a better idea of who attended and who did not than someone who speculated scholarship and attendance and as, you know.
And then there's some sort of account of where he said he stabbed a close friend, a young child.
Sure, as a young child.
Turned out to be a relative, perhaps.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's just
can you see from... Why don't you come to somewhere in that region there and view this before it changes? I just want you to take a look. Just from wherever you want, but you should see this on the inbox, the total. No, over here. On just the inbox on that screen. I just want you to take in for a moment.
Yes.
Just so you know that how many unread emails there are at the moment. Okay, I didn't want to change it by looking at your next one. I'll let you know that you are those numbers of unread emails.
I made that happen.
Exactly. What was your email? Ben Carson is he doubling down? Is that what you're telling me? He's doubling down on this. He's insisting that Politico and the school itself. So was it just a West Point?
Is that what that article's about?
Oh, did he not? He could have claimed that he attended there when he didn't, right? That'd be insane.
No, that's what he's claiming.
He says he was offered a full scholarship, but he couldn't have said that he was there when he wasn't there, right? That would be there would be evidence, right?
That he applied there and was offered a full scholarship. I think is what I read.
No.
And the school is saying no, that did not happen.
Oh.
He never applied.
Okay, well, yeah, no, I mean that would be very relevant. He's intending to be the commander-in-chief, and he's lying on his resume, right? That's what we're dealing with here. His intention is he's applying for the job of commander-in-chief. He's conducting an interview with the American public via the mainstream media. He's interviewing for the very important position of commander-in-chief in the United States of America, corporate entity. He's trying to be the president of our corporation here. And he's lying in his interview, suggesting that he has bona fide West Point. Yeah, but to claim that West Point, I mean, that would be something that would be very relevant but very verifiable. I mean, I feel like that can be solved a lot easier. Does he intend to just Photoshop it and he might as well have a Kenyan birth certificate while he's at it?
I really think.
I guess am I not allowed to say that? Am I not allowed to say it because I didn't even consider that because of his race? Am I not allowed to suggest that? Is now everybody's going to suggest that I'm suggesting that? No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting he's fabricating other stuff blatantly. Like
I was watching Dr. Phil the other day, and he was talking about sociopaths, and he was saying
secondhand hearsay from Dr. Phil.
He was saying that some people, if no one calls them out on their lies,
right,
they think that they're believed.
Right. If nobody directly confronts their lies, they just go on.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, tell me more. Tell me more about this great story.
They're not good at reading that body language.
Right. They don't get that you're just egging them on to dig yourself deeper.
It's really just they're unable to continue on like that.
So essentially, we as a group here, as a culture, by not calling him out on this, we are enabling his continued sociopathy and just blatant falsehoods. I mean, maybe at home you're just yelling out. You're like, hey, he's a politician. Of course he lies, right? That's par for the course. We want him to be a good liar. A strategic truth emitter is one thing, but just blatant fabrications, that might be a little bit too much there, I think. And that's the guy. That's the thing, okay? The red team is saying that out of this herd of suitors, okay? So you want to talk about statistics. You want to talk about statistical likelihoods, right? You've got this swath of varied viewpoints from the right, from the GOP, the red team. You've got this multitude of perspectives, and this is the one they go with. This is the one that so far we're saying, all right, the money's behind Jeb, I guess, apparently. The people are behind Trump, is from what I can tell. But now there's kind of a change and shift, the alignment of views, the acceptable, okay, well, we can get enough people who are willing to just fall in line with the big money under this particular candidate. Just the blatant lies, really just lies. Okay. So, scary sociopathic tendencies. I mean, hashtag libel. I don't care. I'm saying it. I'm just, I'm conducting this job interview like anyone else, and maybe Human Resources is going to kick me out and say I don't get to vote, but that's fine. But I think this conversation is necessary to have, and I'm going to show up to vote anyway. But I think that we should consider that, and it's a very relevant part of the discussion moving forward. As a millennial, everything that up to this point, the people around me, maybe the last 10 years, I've been kind of thinking for myself and experiencing some new other-sided views. But the first almost 20 years of my life or so, I was very much raised red team. I've been in the area of sports red team. I've seen some, small business success and that sort of thing. I like, the idea that like you can go out there and you can earn it for yourself and you can rise to middle-class mediocrity and comforts and basic comforts. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. I like stability. When you spend your life in just rocky poverty sort of insecurity, then like stability and just mediocrity is a good thing. That's you want reliability. That's the way we're going to brand that. That is just a happy medium, and that is the most readily available. That's the thing. If you really want to spread access to the American dream, we need the American dream to both be attainable, but a part of the fabric of being American. It should be you are allowed to live. You should be allowed to live. I feel like if you can compassionately look at these animals. I mean, we're looking at this feral situation out on our street, and we're saying, okay, well, what's the compassionate way to move forward? We're looking at some sort of trapping and fixing moving forward, and there are some pregnancies that have already occurred here, and we've got the kittens, and we've just shown it for you live. But we're just jumping into this game and trying to get out ahead of the next generation, all right? And so we're starting that by getting these ones moved off the street, moved into quality homes. So they're in a halfway house right now, and we're going to kind of show them the ropes. We're going to teach them how to be really productive citizens again. We're going to We're going to teach them how to produce valuable content for the community, and we're going to do that via the interwebs for these guys. But moving forward, obviously, we hope that they find a nice, comfortable home life, and so we're going to utilize the resources here to gain the exposure, give them the audience. I think that we've got a quality product, so to speak. Right? Good kittens. They're good kittens. So far, they're coming along really well. I'm really impressed. One of them he was purring. I was petting him and he was purring, and that's first purr. Hashtag first purr, right? I mean, for a feral kitten, for a stripey to be purring at pets from a human at this point, I mean, very young, you saw the photos. They like it. Amanda's been talking to these cats since they were ex utero, right? And so
I guess since they're maybe a week or two.
Maybe a week or two, yeah.
When she had them underneath the RV,
right.
I've been crouched down in the bushes, getting eaten by mosquitoes.
Yeah. Yeah, so braving the elements to enter into their environment as street kitties, as yard kitties to this point, because as friends of the show and people who've been watching the studio are aware, we've talked about this before. There was a house, on this particular street. It's mostly developed. There's mostly houses on top of one another. We're fortunate here that we have some lots that are our property that we xeriscape, and so they have some room there, some foliage, some sort of coverage to protect these poor animals, because overgrown lots, exactly. But the fact of the matter is, they need protection from airstrikes, right? The owls, okay. And so they used to have a lot over there. There wasn't a house on, and they had the woods and the coverage. But they came in and they cleared it and they developed it and they put a house there. And by the way, those cats definitely made their presence known in that house before the builders closed off the entrances. So whoever lives there is going to be wondering why it smells pretty much
cat pee forever.
Yeah, just why does my house always smell like cat pee? Well, that's the wood in your house. That's the framework of your house. That was your house smelled like cat pee before you started stinking it up like human. So, but yeah, so the reality of the situation is those cats had to go somewhere, and for a while there, it was just into the streets, and that became it was not pretty. All right, we don't want to get into it, but it was not pretty. Yeah, we saw more than we liked. That's just what we saw, and I mean, I'm sure Sally over there, because we have a neighbor who's really sponsoring this sort of activity. I know we're wrong. Like, what's all the support we can have will really help to expedite things. We're doing everything we can here, but we're getting together people locally here that are on the street who are like, this is our local animal population. We're a hyper local group. We're hyper local here, trying to kind of do our part to help these. I mean, this is life here, okay? These are living animals that these little guys, they couldn't make it out there. The fluffy one is just not acclimated to.
It's too fluffy.
Too fluffy, So, we brought him in. We brought him in. They got the box going. We're going to try to get the cast going, get some toys for him and stuff like that, and know that that's going to be a part of the studio development and the ongoing as well. And we'll have things like that, projects. This is a project, and we're going to see how this goes, because I think that it can prompt some interesting discussions of sociology, of psychology. By the way, I dabbled, at a collegiate level. I've studied things like psychology, sociology, and the humanities, and just culture in general. So, I'm going to turn these cats into just well-cultured prep school graduates. Is my ambition. Now, maybe we'll fall short. Maybe they'll never make it to college, and that's okay. Maybe they'll find a valuable trade that they're interested in. Maybe they just want to be on the internet. Maybe they just want to share their meows with the world via the internet.
I think Fluffa's going to be a singer.
Fluffa wants to be a singer. That I could see that. I think
she's very vocal.
Very vocal,
Lots
right?
To say.
Stripey, I think, is more of the philosophical one. I think I've already said. I think the Brutus, maybe, because he's got a very stoic demeanor. Maybe he'll be a poet. Yeah, exactly. Definitely the more reserved of the two. I think perhaps that we've thought maybe Brutus is the male and that Fluffy is the female. We might be projecting. We don't know. Fluffy might be male also, I think, is what the current speculation.
It's hard to tell because
there's so much fluff. Yeah, so we haven't really gotten to that point. We don't want to get too, bath time will be coming. Sorry, hashtag good friend. Okay, good. He's sleeping. He didn't. Well, I'm sorry about the nightmares. The bad B word. But yeah. So eventually we'll get to that. But in the meantime, we're just going with our nice gender neutral young kittens here. And yeah.
Stripey is definitely a boy.
Stripey is definitely a boy. And Brutus is a potential. I don't know. We can look into poets, maybe. Yeah, we don't want to get into that. We want to go more generic. Yeah, we like.
Not to get too attached.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. We don't want to. It's important for us to remain removed and just kind of act as an assistive role, to help socialize these animals, not take too much of a personal investment, too much of an emotional investment. Right. Exactly. We really want to just kind of play a role in helping them. Obviously, we would like to be an ongoing part of their content stream there. Maybe we'd like to see get some updates moving forward, but that's kind of down the road. We have to think about that. But yeah, so we want to keep them maybe stripy and fluffy and just keep it open to whatever the eventual permanent home role is for those little guys. Because like I said, this is just their halfway house. We're just kind of showing them the ropes, teaching them how to get along in society, and teaching them that hands are not toys, toys are toys, hands are for pets. Very important lessons if they're going to be in households with small children and such, and just things you have to get to them early. You have to really don't give them opportunity. Like, unfortunately, their mothers just can't go along for the trip. She's out there at the window and she'd like to be, and I try to engage with her in all of these local ones, but it's just there's really the time and the investment there is better put towards these little guys at this point. So yeah, BenLive.tv. Red team is insane. Blue team is kind of a bunch of wishy-washy weaklings, and they're sellouts. And what's a millennial to do? Right? So for starters, we're talking solutions, okay? We're going to try to go out and get ours, try to be the small business person who has this sort of investment in the economy that is worth having an opinion on one way or another, right? I mean, I want taxes to make a difference in my life, but they do inherently. But for the most part, on an income tax level, I don't make enough to care. I'd love to. I wish I had those problems, but thus far, I don't really not obligated to make much of a contribution in that respect, and that's unfortunate. I'd like to, and I think that I'm capable of, but I'm looking into that. I'm working on that. This is a part of it, obviously. Might be a little bit too honest for some people's taste, but the fact of the matter is that I don't live in the world that other people's tastes were developed in. I live in the world that is right now and moving forward, and I have the perspective of approximately 31 years going back, give or take varying degrees of awareness, obviously. But I think that is very valuable. I think that as a digital native, as a person who grew up interacting with model technology, interacting with teachers who were required to have master's degrees in order to teach in the programs that I was put into because of my innate intellectual potential and my fostered intellectual potential. I mean, my folks did a very good job of socializing me, apparently, because I have a very solid analytic skill set. I have a very capable mind in ways that is not usually connected with the social ability that I like to think I possess. I mean, to some degree I possess. So some people you'll encounter me, sometimes you'll encounter me and you'll just be like, oh, well, who's this bumbling, stuttering, ridiculous, insane person? But on the whole, the majority of my life hours, I think that I keep it together, hold it together pretty well, and think about what it's like to have this live stream of thoughts, of information just constantly pouring through there. You got to have things like BenLive.tv to just put it out there. That's why I explored writing. That's why I've been interested in multimedia. That's why I've explored various artistic mediums. I think that a current limitation that I've been perpetually attempting to push beyond is my blank inner mindscape. I do not have the visual imaginative abilities that I could trace into creative art. And so I'm working on different interaction input devices. And I think the Surface really is going to help me break through that limitation. And that's why I really, that $1,500 Surface is a multifaceted enhancement to what we're doing here. But this has just been, it's an ongoing thing. And, I explain it to people, because a lot of people are like, what do you mean? And they look at me, they don't understand. But the fact of the matter is, if you can look at my head there and you can watch me on the screen and you can just, place an apple over my head in your mind's eye, and you can just see that, that crisp red delicious apple is right there. The fact of the matter is, that's not, there's that layer of projection is not currently in my mind. Either it's not there or it's not turned on or whatever the case is. It's just, to this point, I've spent a lot of time, meditating and exploring other methods of getting to that, but just not there. So moving forward, obviously, I'm going to continue to try to open that up, but I have to find workaround alternatives, and I think that interaction and input technology really help to enhance that. So I studied those things, I made it a point to be a broad multimedia explorer. Through high school I produced TV news, which, AV Club's not exactly the football star in our current high school dynamic, but somebody.
Football too?
Yeah, as a freshman I hurt my knee. I mean, I could have continued, but I was like, well, I'm probably going to walk forever, but my potential in the NFL is more of a size limitation than an intellectual potential limitation.
Probably best to stay away from the brain damage. Isn't that
probably best to stay away from the brain damage. True. The thing they're talking about there would have a direct negative impact on what I think is my most marketable unique asset. That super processor that you're currently witnessing here at 10:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is what it looks like when my brain essentially just cooks its way through. That's what's happening here. I went ahead and I worked the overnight, but I also I switched over from my regular unleaded standard test code red caffeine drip, and I put in the high octane coffee, the iced coffee, and just ratcheted it up a level for you today. Because it's been a couple days, and I got a lot to talk about. I feel refreshed. I feel content where I am right now in this current space. And it's 10:18 a.m. I think that maybe 12-ish minutes, maybe we'll come back a little bit early. I think maybe now's a good time to just toss in the halftime. And we'll get more into this Ben Carson idea. Maybe we'll explore some alternatives, because I don't want to just focus on, well, that's not the one, Obviously, and we don't have to get into just the strictly by the numbers demographic mobilization limitations that the grand old party is going to face if they try to rally behind a candidate like Ben Carson. I'm sorry, that's the reality. You can't sit there and spend 8 years stoking the flames under that hidden demographic in the voting public and think that they're just going to jump onto that idea, So that's reality. Sorry, that's reality. Welcome to America. Your shadow folk in masks on the webs gave you a list of names for those guys recently. And so if you're into that, you can find that now and, act accordingly in a distance sort of way, That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to build a network here, if you're going to include people in your time, in your life, then, it's good to know maybe, we only have so much time to invest. We don't want to invest it in any crazy old school mentality maintainer. We got to move forward. That's the reality. If we're going to invest our time and our energy into building networks and building connections with, future thinking, we need people who are invested in that future really being there for us. We need people who have a truly vested interest, because we plan on being on the surface of this planet at that time. So when you look at things that scientific projections, you can ignore. You can, as a party, you make it your stance that you ignore and deny scientific evidence. That will not make science go away, because that's the virtue of science. That's what science does. It's repeatable, verifiable. It's there. Okay. So when the science is telling us that within the next 100 years the Persian Gulf is going to become uninhabitable for human life, when it's going to be too hot for humans to live there, there's a lot of humans living there right now who are probably not going to just hang out and wait for those 100 years to expire before they start looking for a lemonade stand nearby. Okay? And so things might get really interesting here. So we really need to just jump on exploring alternative, experimental, very peaceful, very open and honest attempts to move forward. Like, it's okay to just go, hey, look, guys, we don't want to do this, all right? You don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. Like, let's just stop doing this. Like, you got people over there just killing their own and having their own killed. And, you're killing, if you're killing someone else, like, you got to figure that someone else has people just like you do, and that's not good. You're putting hurt in the world. And when you're trading hurt for hurt like that just to decide who's good, you're never going to figure it out, because none of you are. And that's the problem, all right? So, if they want to continue arguing over, Abraham's inheritance, that's fine. But my point is, it's time for us to move forward and say, all right, let's try to live here. Let's try to be peaceful here. Let's try to sustain ourselves, have a future, intellectualize these sorts of disagreements and talk it out, discuss it, and be open and honest. Just be honest and equitable. Like, allow an equitable stake. You have to figure that. It's only people who have nothing to lose who just put it all on the line and give it all up. if you have something to lose, if you have a real vested interest in a future, then you're going to want to work together. Available space limited, and so we have to kind of restructure how we do things for a little while at least, or figure out to spread world. It's all multifaceted. We have to go after this from every angle. All right, and so anyway, I'll keep going if I let myself. 10:22. I'm going to take the halftime. Going to cruise through 10:30 a little bit there, and we'll be back. And we'll be talking more politics, maybe more hashtag feral, the cats formerly known as. I don't know. BenLive.tv. Saturday, casual broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. It's still going for you here till noon, and I'll be back. Coming to you live via the interwebs. Right on the backs of 3,000 cats per second. 9 a.m. till noon Eastern. Daily-ish. Most dailies coming to you live. 9 till noon. Gonna restructure that. Got the package delivery system there. Kind of working out the kinks on that one. Gonna experiment with the Creator Studio and find out what works for us there. But it's fun. It's fun kind of doing a one-take live scenario for the package stuff. Consider that at home when you're watching the on-demand recorded version. This is in real time here. I know life can be boring. But right now you've got Elliot, the pretty kitty, cleaning herself for you. So, if you're into self-licking kitties, then you should watch BenLive.tv. We've got the kitties. That's with a T there. Kitties. YS? Kitties? Kitty? I don't know. I'm the English major. I should know. I'm pretty sure it'd be IES normally. I'm pretty sure it'd be IES, but I feel like KITTYS just looks like how I would write kitties. Kitties! That sounds more like kitties! Yay! Right? Doesn't it? It just does. Creative license. Hey, pretty kitty. She looks really good on the OLED monitor there. Ben Live. Sorry if the flash on the thing there. I got to re-render one, but that just takes a significant commitment of the real workhorse computer here, so we don't want to have it tied up in rendering too long. But got to work something out new for you. I don't know. Not going to be this weekend. Working this weekend. Not going to be doing the primetime broadcast stuff. So, friends of the show, those of you just tuning in, wow, I'll let you know. Post it on the links there on the social networks and whatnots, and I'll give you the heads up because obviously no one's actually, like, I mean, what are we, like, at 10:37 a.m.? If you're watching this now, you're probably not even going to remember. You got football on the other station. Right? Is it Saturday? Is a big football Saturday? 11/7. That seems like... Oh, man, what we got? Thanksgiving's coming up? I feel like they already moved on to Christmas commercially, but Thanksgiving's happening still, right? We are still doing Thanksgiving. That's the combination Thanksgiving evening. Thanksgiving. Where did this guy learn to talk? Make words with your stupid hole. Funny face, clown on the internet, dance for me. That's my audience, right? That's the guy who watches this. They just yell at me. How dare you misspeak, English speaking boy? Where's your fancy $80,000 liberal arts degree now? Yeah, you can't. Yeah, no. Just turn it off. If you're literally doing that, if I'm causing you that much distress, just go ahead and just turn it off. Generally, we don't advise turning off the broadcast. If you've made it this far in life, if you've found BenLive.tv through some fortuitousness of proximity or good fortune of birds on wires and such, I don't know. What is it that a birdie told me? Maybe you heard it on grapevines. Do grapevines still make noise? This and other philosophical wonderings. What does he even mean? Talk about computers more. I don't understand. He sounds like an old person. BenLive.tv is so old now. Why are there two cats and a monkey? Right? I should have at least made a cat face. I didn't have that. If you're familiar with Blender, the monkey is a standard mesh there. We did some materials work. We did some cycles rendering there. If you look at the lighting that's happening there, it's accomplished an entirely different method, and it's a lot more realistic. When applied, I mean, obviously, when applied better than there. Made that happen for you just to show you that the cycles rendering was happening. It is a reality. We are enhancing our 3D graphics processes in real time. But today, talking politics. Ew! Why? I know. Because we have to. We have to. Somebody's got to talk about this stuff. Because it's reality. Whether you vote or not, whether you like it or not, they're still going to try to put you in a cage if you break the rules they decide on. Some of them, you know. And other ones keep your mind in a cage, man. Break free from the system. Fight the power. The man. Don't let him keep you down. Lift your brother up. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it is. Whatever gets you going. Whatever you're into. BenLive.tv. I'm all about the truth here. I'm all about the honest, kind of broad perspective. We don't want to try to limit ourselves into this middle of the road sort of thinking. I prefer to just kind of, well, what are the extremes talking about? What is it that's really causing this disruption on the extremes? I mean, you have one side that's just like income inequality, you know, and then another side is just like taxes are horrible. I don't want to pay any. Okay, fine, sure. Why should you? Because people are making millions and billions. Income inequality, we talked about it earlier. Rewind, hit the 10-second jump back. Income inequality. Why do I have to pay all these taxes? Because they bought your government and set it up so that you actually have to contribute to a system that's already been like bought and stole from you, and then being sold back to you in small amounts as they, give you just enough to get by. I mean, and just as you move up, I encountered out there in the meat space, out there in the wild. I interacted with an unnamed young man who was obviously was involved in some sort of the service at some level. He had the identification for it. I saw it because I was IDing him. He was under 40, and he was, needed some intoxicants to ease his evening. And he was in a standard service industry uniform, so I could relate. But he obviously had credentials in some sort of a military service there. He had the identification, and he was talking about these taxes, and he's like, he's in a slightly higher income bracket than I am because he's worked a little bit harder there, and he's doing something else or whatever the case may be. He's just smarter than me, or maybe he's got those experiences, and I'm not devaluing those by any means. I'm sure he's wonderful at what he does. By all means, he's earned it. Good for him, and because he's earned it, he's actually, because he has to be taxed. He's at that point. Like I'm still in the Goldilocks zone here, where I'm like, at the top level of the don't have to contribute because you're still poor, and so we kind of cobble together what we have with the good fortune and kindness of those in our lives and our families to help enhance them, and we do what we can. But he's at a point where he's worked a little bit harder there, or done whatever it was, and pushed a little bit farther in his income bracket, and that's like instant, just, oh, by the way, back to where you were. So he's still, we are basically at the same place there, and it's just, so there's not a lot of incentive. Like, I can see that where I'm looking that way, and then I'm looking at the people coming up behind me on the full on, not just hanging out. I heard, and I don't know if this is some unsubstantiated rumors, hearsay coming live off the wires. I heard tale that if you're homeless for a year out in Colorado, you can get about $28,000 a year to live off of, just as a full-time government or full-time employee of the United States federal government. That's your job title, right? Because that's who's signing the checks. And so I'd say it's a reputable career. That's federal government work. That's valuable stuff. Let's go. Anyway, talk about. You want to dig some ditches? I'll dig a ditch. I don't care. Is it irrigation for food systems? Because those are the ditches we dig, right? Or, protecting residential zones and things like that, or transportation means. Like, okay, there's some things worth protecting from the onslaught of the elements. But maybe we should look more into the systems there and think about, why is it that we use these roads all the time? What is it with the big investment in the roads and the insistence on the fossil fuel and the, obvious dead ends? Like, clearly, grateful for how we got here, where we are, industrialized and such, technologically advanced in a way that's truly just, we are the envy of ourselves. We really are. We've built these amazing toys that the vast majority of us just have no access to, but they look really cool on the home shopping networks and the whatever the QVC stands for. Quality value probably maybe is that. I mean, it sounds like the sort of marketing material that's not by any means a personal validation of the material there. I don't know. Don't know. Unfounded. Don't know. Can't speak to it. Don't know. Not a frequenter of that establishment. So why should we be Republicans, right? So let's just not have that. Let's not be. Well, I'm not. I'm a clearly a liberal Democrat type. I'm a progressive. I'm a hippy dippy sort of. Whatever. Okay, fine, sure, whatever. Be what you want to be. But if someone's coming at you in the mindset of you should be a Republican, play for Team Red, red team, red team, red team. I'm curious to know, like, really? This red team? These guys? I mean, don't get me wrong, I root for the Jaguars regardless of the garbage, but when they start trying to, put big old stadiums on the taxpayer there, I guess it's going to generate some revenue and bring some money. I don't know. As long as the bulk of it's funded by who knows what. Yeah. So, maybe if that's your home team, maybe if the red team's just your home team and you root for them regardless of what they put on the field, I'm curious how that's working out for you. Don't get me wrong, you are the people who balance out those who do the same on the blue team, and then there's a team there that's kind of purpling in the middle, head to head, and that's who's actually making the decisions. But the vast, overwhelming majority are just sitting there in the stands and just laughing at the circus, right? Isn't that the reality? I mean, don't get me wrong, the joke's on us. We paid for tickets, but we're still laughing at the circus. Yeah? Is that too far? Have I gone too far into metaphor? Have we lost track of what's happening here? Is the puppetry becoming too opaque? I agree. BenLive.tv. Took a couple days off. Had to seethe a little bit. No, this is positive. This is upbeat. I'm genuinely optimistic. I'm genuinely curious. What is it that the red team has to offer? What is it? What is our hope for this future? What is the America for which we aspire to bring greatness to again? What is that? What does it look like? What are we trying to do here? I've heard that we're not going to bring in Browning influences from the Southwest. I've gotten that message pretty clearly, handily, only through legal channels as approved, not in the just ollie accent free, I'm on base sort of mentality. Fine, okay, whatever, sure. I can see that as something there, and there's a populace there. But I'm just curious as to what the overwhelming, like, what's the reason the Team Red is the major choice? And don't give me any of the theological stuff. I'm sorry, but just don't. That's not the realm of the government. And the more people want to bring that into the discussion, I feel the farther we get from what we're supposed to be doing here. And it's fine. I mean, this is coming. We're allies in this fight. All right. We want to be good people. We want to do the right thing here, and we genuinely want to embody these sorts of ideological, moral goodness traits, that leads to trouble. Freedom, just basically free thought, that's crazy concepts, but and not accept the a lot of old paper, a lot of old words on paper, and carried through into different media, but established back then. It's just not as relevant now. That's the reality. That's the world that we live in, that we can kind of move into a embracing future of just, okay, well, let's all work together at doing these things that matter to all of us then, right? It seems like a novel concept, but those are the things we should do. Work on the things that we all agree on doing together, and there are going to be things that we disagree about, and that's not really the place for the things we all do together. So go find states, or whatever it is. Go make your own states. As the ballot measures might seem. If we get a major influx of population into one of these underpopulated states, we could really just spread ground here, right? Like we can build a Colorado to Oregon, Washington, Northwestern just growth, just expansion, just a swath just disperse out through a statistical, analytical, advantageous nature. Just take all of the major population density in the areas that have just heavily gone in the ways that they've always gone, and just bring those out and just strategically place them throughout. We all work remotely, so it doesn't matter, right? This is the future. This is future time. We just put on our HoloLens, sorry, hashtag unpaid ad, because that's a good one. Holodeck, if you want to go older copyrights, fine, whatever. What was the Oculus? Yeah, that's a good one. It looks cool. Man, they were on the cutting edge of this one, so got to give them credit. But I remember there was an old little red wire thing going on back in the 90s. So, this is not unexplored territory. There have to be people who have just kind of been thinking in this realm for a lot longer than I have. But I'm there. I dream about a 3D interface, a 3D immersive interface. I lay in bed, I literally lay in bed and daydream about what it would be like to interact with and engage with a word processor in my living room here. Maybe I'm just a crazy person, but maybe I've just spent so many of my life hours thinking about these things that it would just make more sense if I were applying that knowledge to a community benefit role. Wherever it is, to whatever brand it benefits. BenLive.tv, I think, is a suitable one, but I'm really this is more of a utility to enhance the other functions. Ideally, in a perfect interspace, interwebs, cat herd, in the ideal scenario, BenLive.tv is what I do. I think it has value. I genuinely do, or I wouldn't continue to invest the time and the energy and the tangible assets, the real investments into this. I wouldn't do that if I didn't think that what I was doing here was helpful or beneficial. And, if I've tried to include you in this and bring you into this, don't take that as an insult. Don't take it as, this guy's just, he just slings this to everyone. No, I pick and choose. Some people I talk to a little bit, and some people it's just more of a, it's a statistics thing. Demographic out and figure that my audience were millennials. I know what you are. I know what's going on. I can get it. I see you in your service industry uniforms. I see how it goes. I feel you. I did it. And then here I am a decade later from, my early service industry roots, and I feel like I'm exactly in the same place. I feel like the bottom of the money has just kind of come up with me and caught up to me. So although there might be a tangible increase in dollar values there over the course of my career. So if I were to chart it out, it would appear that the graph is going up and to the right. It's just not in an equitable fashion to other charts such as CEO compensations, and inflation, the eroding values. And, maybe it is stagnant now, or so allegedly, but it's interesting that they use this as a metric. Okay, they use the inflation as a metric to determine cost of living increases, and so it's held stagnant with the oil prices and the gas prices there. And then once they've done that and nobody gets the cost of living increase, it's like, there it goes, that's the price back up. That's interesting. Heading back the other way now, thanks. That's convenient, but whatever. File it under okay. A lot of the stuff's just out of our hands. We can talk about it and we can propose these ideas. I can say, hey, I'm kind of concerned if this Ben Carson fellow is the best that they can do. I like the name, don't get me wrong. Obviously, BenLive.tv. That would be convenient for what we're doing here. I'm already in a red chair, but I don't see anything that I can get behind there. I don't see anything I can support, unfortunately, from a substantive level. I see a lot of things that concern me, quite frankly, to be completely honest. I'm very concerned if that's the best that's being offered. How am I supposed to be on the red team? I'm just curious, because there's just a swath, a large field, a diverse offering, many shades of red, and so far, Trump, I was informed. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I saw on the Colberts, for starters. Bill Clinton was talking to Colbert, and they were referring to Trump being friends with him, being a Democratic ally to Clinton back in that time. And maybe that bodes well for his economic policy, but I would think players on Team Red would not be interested in putting up somebody who was, connected to the other side in such a fashion, right? I mean, especially if blue team ends up going with Clinton, sure. That seems like an obvious setup, right? I don't know. Is it? I know. I'm on board. Don't get me wrong. If it's a setup, let's play that one out because that's a fun game to play. But, sorry, repping the other brand. It's good stuff, isn't it? BenLive.tv. Have I told you lately that I'm a liar on the internet? Have I warned you? Have I given you the full disclaimer that I am, in fact, a liar on the internet? Don't trust anything I say. Not to be trusted. Moose back there, a lump on a couch. He knows what I'm talking about. Not to be trusted. Liar on the internet. All those cats riding out there just seeding untruths. Because, I mean, what do I know? I'm just a crazy ham radio operator. I'm the liberal Rush Limbaugh operating out of my basement here with my wacky antics and my on-screen animal activity. Look at me. I'm a crazy person. You think that's fun? Well, we're foregoing our primetime evening broadcast this Saturday and Sunday night because we are investing that time in freedom in the future. Looking forward to a Monday night, midnight Tuesday morning stream-a-thon. Maybe gonna do some game casts. Maybe gonna bring you live. I do have it set up. I have the Xbox reserved, I guess. Somebody's gonna bring it here. If we're gonna do a telethon, maybe, and kind of consider, hey, we should raise the funds to be able to do this on an ongoing basis. But in the meantime, by the courtesy of our entirely silent contributor, we're gonna bring in an Xbox and hook it up and try to bring you some day one story enhanced, creative enhanced story mode. Gonna put in our own twist, gonna put our own ideas into it, and apply a process to our decision making and sort of enhance the story for you. Okay? So
are you suggesting you might be using your creative writing skills?
Might be using my creative writing skills to push our particular broadcast, our particular flavor of this popular theme to another level, to kind of layer on top of what the good folks over at the Bethesda, I think we should probably say their names because they're kind of, we're going to give them a lot of screen time soon, right? Hopefully. So the good work that they've done over there, we're going to layer on top of that with kind of we're going to look at it from this perspective and run out into that world. And it should be fun.
That was something we started because I found the games boring.
Yeah.
So,
yes, Amanda was disinterested, at Stupid Waffle, disinterested in some of the most epic video games being, helmed by the master himself Ben McNulty.
I didn't care for the character you had created.
Didn't care for the character.
So we made a new one.
And made a new one. Ventured into a new realm. It was fun.
The character really stuck. So
the character stuck.
Bring it back.
Bringing it back for you. We've seen it through multiple iterations here, so we've kind of practiced this, but I am going to go live because I don't know. I haven't seen this stuff. I haven't been following even. I mean, I've seen some of the breaking stuff, don't get me wrong. Like, I haven't been in a vault. I'm not a crazy person. But for the most part, I've been keeping myself reserved, and I haven't been trying to absorb too much content because I want to experience it for the first time live for you guys in the real world environment. Again, for better or worse, right? I mean, it could go smashingly well. It could be just kind of a thing we do here at BenLive.tv. Whatever it is what it is. We'll try. I'm going to try to get it together for you. Monday night, Tuesday night. Instead of the usual Saturday night, Sunday night. Gonna put those ones out there on the streets. Gonna go work the streets Saturday night and Sunday night, so I can afford not to Monday and Tuesday. So it should be fun. Good times. I don't know. Should be interesting broadcast material. It's going to be a live narration experience on top of an existing first-time exposure. For a lot of people, it's not going to be accessible to them, and so we'd like to kind of make that accessible. Maybe it's going to encourage them to get out there and and purchase this material. You know what I mean? So it's really helping them. It's definitely a hashtag unpaid ad all the way, and we're gonna try to make it a paid ad and through the fan funding, through the contributions, because the reality is if you want us to be able to do this in the future, and I'd like to, of course, I'd like to, obviously, I'd like this to be a main focus, but in-house technology, not possible yet. But we can make that a part of that $1,250 studio upgrades real easily now. Apparently, we're looking at like a $350 and growing kind of investment as each title comes in. A number of them are already on there for free, so just a reserve, just ready to go. I talk about some growth hacking. Utilize, if you're a gold member, if you have your your Xbox Live Gold account, you can actually purchase through the web these free games for your Xbox One without having the console yet. You can have them ready to go for you. So when you eventually get it, it's just like games, And it's a smart strategy for them because it definitely makes it more enticing to, as that price point becomes more realistic. It's just like, But with what we do here with 3D scanning, we'd have to go for the Kinect version. I mean, that's the reality, and because of the 3D scanning being such a fun and engaging part of what we're trying to do here. If we were going to go that enhanced, we'd want to have that. But, could be a later add-on. I'm not sure how they do it. I'm sure they'll have one available for Windows 10 as a peripheral. I've seen ads. When we talk about this, it's interesting. We talk about this on the show. We don't really post about it or put a lot of content in there in the non-live multimedia format. We don't put a lot of written words out there regarding this stuff, but we see the ads for the 3D image capturing hardware peripherals on a regular basis. I think if you look back in previous broadcasts, you can actually see these advertisements on the screen. It's quite interesting. The thing we talk about here shows up in our advertising. But hey, mic's on. We're live. Cortana's listening, apparently. She butts in sometimes, right? I've seen it happen, so in order to butt in, you have to be listening, I think, is the concept. I think that was the concern. But hey, whatever it is, what it is, I uncheck the boxes that are going to just send all that out en masse because I need that bandwidth. That cat space is our cat space. We're utilizing that cat space, that cat stream. For that kitty over there, the hashtag good friend right here, who I'm just idly petting as he walks up because he's such a hashtag good friend. So majestic. Oh, look at him. What's that over there? Yeah, I found it really interesting that the fluffy kitten earlier took an interest in looking at the videos. The video there, I played that with her making the noise. We are saying her now, I don't know. Sorry, with Fluffy making the noise. Fluffy is a Fluffy. Fluffy was making the noise, and
I've been calling her Fluffa.
Fluffa, but you said her there, so there you go. Fluffa has been fluffing. So we showed the iPhone, and Fluffa reacted to the noise and was interested, and I replayed it repeatedly for Fluffa. And it's interesting.
In there right now.
Yeah, singing, trying to be on BenLive.tv, singing.
Say hi.
She could come say hi, sure. I mean, if you don't mind, dipping in there to set her on, I don't know, we could give her the table. We just have to, we got plenty of Windex. There's still outside kitties. We got the vet and all that stuff. But they seem okay so far. They're pretty new. We're alright. We'll be fine. She might come say hi, though. Come say fine. It doesn't even make sense. Why is this guy on TV? Oh, wait, he's not. It's the internet. BenLive.tv. You know that this is available. You can put this on. This is 720p. Coming to you now at 30 frames per second. We want to go a little bit easier on the CPU for these broadcasts to try to keep the technology running as we try to explore more high-end graphics work here. Want to keep things running smoothly as much as possible. We still push it. You'll see sometimes things get a bit choppy. But for the most part, trying to keep it running steady, 30 frames per second, 3,000 cats per second, as we call them. K. 3,000 K per second. I think we have it's a 9 meg upstream available. I think it was more than that. I did a test. I did a speed test, and it was a lot. So as long as it stays running, it's solid. It's good. But got to keep the space open for the cats. Don't want to be putting the randomized advertising information. No thanks. Don't take them off my bandwidth, especially not metered bandwidth. I mean, you're supposed to be able to turn off things like that on metered bandwidth, I think. But you know, I like to a certain degree. Don't get me wrong. I do like you know, back end server side sort of ad tracking mechanisms, because when you're engaging with multiple content from, you know, multiple pieces of content from similar
She's not ready to make
outlets.
a live appearance.
No, not ready for a live appearance. So, you know, when you're dealing with that, yeah.
She's making some demands from her trailer right now.
She's making some demands from the trailer. Oh, already. It's come to that, huh? That's good. Well, we're going to try to set up the in-trailer feed, so there you go. Maybe we'll have to put a paywall on that dirty kitty cam. No, hashtag good friend says, I'm ready for the show. Look at my butt. Need some food.
I think she's protesting about having to share with other animals. She doesn't want to share the screen.
No, she's definitely going to be concerned about having to co-occupy this space with these other animals. These animals who just don't see things her way. Why should she have to cohabitate this environment with these neck-scratching animals? No, that's a bad sign, isn't it? No, it's not. It's not a compulsive scratch. Hashtag hypochondria. Hey, let's get a squeaky chicken going. So yeah, working on that. Got the computer going. I wish I had more of a vested interest. I really do. You know, the more resources that are available, I'm just reinvesting in the content. That's the thing. I'm putting it right back into what we're doing here. So, you know, the larger the resource streams, the revenue streams, the whatever becomes available, the more I can do here, and that's what makes it fun. You know, putting time into it is the thing. I'm continuing. It's already happening. Okay, it's already live. BenLive.tv. Got the domain already up, set up. I'm gonna do some serious enhancements there in the off-screen time here, coming in the near future as well. Although I don't know how addicted I'm gonna be to that thing. Oh man, woo, I've been laying off of the video games for a while there, so you might see some serious hardcore playing here. Live streaming for some hours, but anyway. That withstanding, gonna put some time into the website there. Gonna put some more time into the graphics and the different channels as we go forward. Really trying to work out the kinks in the 3D space before we get too heavily committed to anything in the graphic sphere, because as you can see, it'll be fun to incorporate them moving forward. You know, for that real consistent imaging, we want to be at that same level of just immersion, just you know, I was used to into the computer screens. You know, remember that was a fun thing. Remember back on the Ben TV days, when you just went into your computer screens. So we're gonna do that again, right? We're gonna do it in a whole meta sort of way too. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun what we're doing. It's a good time. Good stuff happening. Gonna continue to make it possible one way or another. Got to do it. Got to do something. Have to improve my personal brand. I have to enhance the level of multimedia content that I am capable of producing. The verifiable on regular basis here. We're trying to put out 3 hours a day. Obviously, I take a couple days off here and there because I am a human, and this is actually a second job. So, I get a couple days off from the real one. I get a couple days off from this one. Sometimes they align. Sometimes they don't. It is what it is. Sometimes the days off from the other one are when I really just go whole hard into this one, and that's when we get some really fun stuff, whether it's on camera or off. I hope you're enjoying it. I mean, I hope that, to some degree, if you're engaging with the content, you're at least enjoying yourself. If you're not vocal in the chat rooms or you're not vocal in the social networks, that's fine. I'm a lurker too. I get it. Churn up those views for us. Hit those analytics. That's it, man. Just get those metrics going. And check out the show. Help stimulate our revenue stream, because as soon as I can grow it, I promise you, as soon as I can grow it. I was having a conversation about this with an old friend earlier, right? The reality is, right now, I have a necessity of a $300 revenue stream, and I just fill that wholesale with the work that I do in the outside world that I think is just an undervaluation of my time, but it's local, it's convenient, it's not so I don't have to commit to it in my home time, it's there. I go there, I punch in, and I do what I do, and I contribute, and I give the value that I'm given, and in return, I go home and I leave it, and then I do this. and this is fun, and this is what I put in. Everything beyond that 300 that either this gains or that I can gain out there by doing things differently, maybe changing the amount of investments that I make in different places moving forward, just because I have to. 300 is not enough. It's not enough. I got to grow that one out. That's the reality of it. But the fact that I'm making do. I'm making do with that. And I'm making this possible on that. And so as soon as I can get that transference, I can have the revenue stream here to where it just makes up for that. Yeah, there'll be a while there where I have both, and that'll be really cool, because as I grow this one outside of it, I need it to become the double. And once that happens, I might kind of keep that churning for a little while, of course, because that'll be the seed that really backs it up. Because that's 600. We're trying to grow 512, 511. So if we can grow up to 6, really that puts us at 210, 211. So if I can grow the revenue stream on the side at some point in order to get to 300, I'll have to pass through that. So really, when I start passing through 2, I can start transferring over the investments. I can start investing in solid corporate entity type. We'll go through one final rebrand for those of you who've been with the studio throughout the multiple transitions we've had in this short time. We've been doing this a very limited time here, and you've seen the brands and the colors and everything. You've seen things change a few times, but settled in on the benlive.tv domain. Put it in t-shirt form, put it in card form, put it into the meat space. So that's where we are. That's what we're doing. And whatever it is I decide to do on my other time is going to be brought through here and shared with you here. And this is where I will try to enhance my personal minimum viable product as an employee, as an agile mindset, interaction designer, growth hacker, participant. Team workflow participant, chore doer. Hey, I'll get it done. There's some skills on there. If you check out, I have the resume right there on benlive.tv. There's a link right on there. If you look at the collection of both theoretical and tangible skill sets there, it's kind of extensive. It's 3 pages. I know it's a bit much, but it's in virtual space, so whatever. You don't have to print it. You can, though, because I set up the media so that it does print in a nice 3-page format. Still, hopefully, through Chrome. I don't know. I've made a couple revisions, and but for the most part, it's where it needs to be. As you can see, there are only so many hours in a day. And I've already committed a majority of my time and my thought space to this other activity, obviously, that sustains the current existence that you see. And so this activity here is hopefully going to be doing that in the future, but currently it gets what's left over. And what is thrown in is just directly into it. Because that's a part of what's left over. Because what I'm doing on the side is continuing to support what I'm doing. So you have to understand that anything you put in directly is going to go immediately into. You're going to see tangible assets. I will be able to tell you on screen live. I'll be like, this is what we turned their ducats. We turned them into this right here. You'll see it. And yeah, if it spends freedom, it'd be a beautiful thing to see. But the $1,500 Surface, that'll allow us to put this one in there with those kitties, and then have the new space here that we can actually engage with in an interesting way and more interactive way. And then we'll go with a camera. We'll have to get sort of a remote HD camera set up, at least for a webcam HD webcam type purpose. A stopgap measure before we can get the real $1,500 quality studio camera type thing. We might have to work on a stopgap remote in order to engage directly in that way, because it's just a limitation that we have to accept in order to also enhance our broadcast with that technology. So yeah, we're looking into that. We're going to make it possible. It's going to happen. Eventually it's going to happen. I mean, these are real advancements that I have to make. Unfortunately, with the current trajectory, with the current budget plan, it looks like before I have the Surface in here to really enhance our broadcast in the ways that I would like to, the vast majority of people will be operating on HoloLens technology, and they'll be in full holodeck rooms, and I'll be sitting here on a chair just with a keyboard and mouse, and be like, man, I sure wish I had a touch screen. But that's all right.
We still have my 4S.
We do have a 4S, an iPhone 4S, so but that's a part of it too. I mean, you see that in the budget. There are there are offerings now, and I know Maybe some viewers might have trouble with the different brands, and if you can find an offering that works, as long as you got the unlimited, that's the most important thing. Unthrottled, unlimited bandwidth, the unlimited data, because you don't want metered data. If you're watching this show 3 hours a day, coming to you HD live, that's 3,000K a second. That's 3 megs a second. It's a lot of, not the big ones, but the little bits. You don't want to. You don't want to be doing that on metered data. I'm telling you right now. If you're watching the broadcast on metered data where you don't have an unlimited plan, you're in trouble. Don't do that. Switch over to your Wi-Fi. Or, pause this, watch this later, switch over to your Wi-Fi. You'll blow through your data real quick. So, don't do that. But if you're on the unlimited stuff, if you're on the big pipes, go ahead and open up like 8 million tabs of ours and then just watch them all. Watch everything. It'll keep where you are. By the way, if you're not familiar with this on the YouTube interface so far, I can tell if you're logged in, it'll keep where you are. So if when you go back to the video later, say you don't have 3 hours to sit there and watch BenLive.tv right now, you can actually just take in a small portion of it and it'll pick up where you left off when you return. So you don't actually have to open up all the tabs. You can just follow a continuous play line there. I'm going to do some stuff on BenLive.tv and make it easy for you. I'm going to kind of get some embedded playlists going for you so you can access our material a little bit easier. Access the content in a directly engaging way and add some real interactivity and reasons to visit BenLive.tv before I just plaster ads all over the place. I'm just going to inundate your brain space with branding and marketing for major corporations who I support wholeheartedly and really just want you to give the maximum value to their tangible investment in our broadcast here through ad revenue, because that's where ad revenue comes from. You understand this. You have to understand the profit model that we're trying to develop for BenLive.tv. Okay, we want to generate advertising revenue because of what you see, the sorts of product placements probably more further out here, the overlays and then the in-between ads and that sort of thing. I'm not playing one right now while I'm talking about it. I usually do that. I'm like, these sorts of things, and I play an ad like a real, heckler. But I'm serious here, okay? We're trying to develop an ad revenue stream, and what that literally means is companies will buy ad space through the intermediary, Google, YouTube, Alphabet, whatever you want to call it, and they will, fund this broadcast based on the audience and the viewership and the number of people who are putting their time into it. And so it's really, if you have nothing to invest financially in capital, but you think that what we're doing here is a good use of time, then give us your time, engage with us with your time, whether it's at 9 to noon, and if that's not convenient for you, interact with the broadcast, use hashtag BenLive whenever, throughout your day, whenever it's convenient for you. Whenever you have 3 hours, when you have a small session that you can add up, whatever it is. Thumbnail. Oh, good. Of course it reconnects directly at the time that I just sit here. I'm like, I'll just fix my hair in the monitor. Nobody's ever going to see this. It's just me on a failed hashtag Comcast attempt. What do you mean Comcast came right back? Never. No, those are mine. You can't have them. It's my gold. Capitalism in action, right? See, I should be on the red team. You see the way I treated the hashtag good friend. He might be a good friend, but he's certainly not a real economic contributor to the operation. So, I deny him access to the gold that I freshly mined for you live on the broadcast. Filthiest metaphor of the day award. Hashtag creative writing. I'm just saying the hashtag in front of words now. Don't even do that. Hashtag BenLive. Let's just keep the conversation. Let's get the conversation started before we start digressing it, right? BenLive. Hashtag GrowBen. We're hashtag growing cats in the other room, but the idea is that we're going to increase an audience for this broadcast. The broadcast focuses on the ongoing enhancements of the content distribution system that we're building here. Forgotten Genius Productions, BenLive.tv is the public outlet, the first real public content stream that will form the basis for the other sorts of packaged video content that, hey, what happened today? Did you see what happened today? Did you look at that earlier? We put together the mechanism for getting our MP4s saved, compiled in a way that works. The same software that we're using, not too much of no additional investment. I just decided today that this is what I wanted to make happen before this broadcast. I wanted to put together the process for packaged content distribution, because it makes this more accessible. It gives people a reason to really flip us on for 3 hours and understand that, hey, let's hang out, let's talk about this stuff, let's talk about these sorts of current economic, political, philosophical issues that are going to define our time, whether or not. So let's choose to engage. Let's choose to take an active participatory role in our current circumstance. Hashtag Comcast fail. Straight up the nose. Hey, look at that, right back. Right, that's the key. I found the solution. I figured out how to fix it. I just got to whink right up my nose, and then the cats will be allowed to flow again. That's what they like. They're like, whoa, no, he's picking his nose again. Give him more. They're just trying to trick me now. Now it's like, somebody's got their foot on the wire. And yeah. Up, you'd really give me a lot of access, wouldn't you? Like, just show us the cats, all right? Can we get to these other 21 hours? No, sorry, you got another 39 minutes before we're going to wrap this up. 9 to noon. But that's it today, okay? You get off the hook easy. Eventually, we'll have 21 hours of cats for you, and I'm going to interrupt that with a breaking Ben Live coverage more than you'd like, I promise. It'll be fun. For me. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. At this point, we're at, what, 2 hours and 22 minutes into the broadcast? I mean, that's a lot of content there. You know, you're at this point in the video, and you've seen every 20 minutes for the first hour, every 30 minutes thereafter, you've seen me just abruptly stop for commercial if you're watching this recorded, because we have to generate some sort of ongoing revenue stream in order to keep this operation growing for you. You know, the leftovers from the real work that I do and then support our existence here is very, very little. So, you know, you see us putting it in where we have to, where we see that's vital. But moving forward here, we got some other real tangible stuff here that we got to take care of. So, you know, looking for help. Like you'd buy me dinner, you'd buy me a beer. You know what I mean? Just throw it in the contribution. Use it in PayPal. Just directly, you know, kick $10 my way. If it's less than that, if you're honestly just like, I can't do less than that, you can customize it any amount you want, okay? For starters, you can customize it to any amount. You don't have to take the $10, $100,000, $10,000. Yeah, that's reasonable, right? 10 grand, you got that. There we go. Who's that?
Like, if you can't afford to give money, then please don't.
Then please don't. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you genuinely can't afford to give money, just don't. We can't either. We get it. Don't feel pressured. It's not about that. I mean, if you got time to give and you want to give, if you want to contribute in that way, but please do, by all means. You know, comment, share, like, bring people into the conversation.
Free to share.
It's free to share. That's it. And if you know me, if you know Ben McNulty, and you know the BenLive.tv broadcast, you see what we've been doing here for months now. This isn't new. This isn't just like I woke up yesterday and was like, I've got this idea to tell the world. No. You know,
That happened a few months ago.
That happened a few months ago. No, I just came naked out of the shower, and I was like, I've got to share this with the world. And that stupid waffle was like, that is the best idea I've heard in a while. And you should put that on the internet. And so,
Sure that.
yeah, we'll reenact the scene one day. I decided today in the pre-production, when Amanda and I were talking candidly, it was determined. We do that. Yes, we do speak openly and honestly. We have wide channels of communication. We like to keep going and foster. But anyway, let's not digress too much into our functionality. Let's focus on the dysfunction now. No, we're not paving that road. But that's the thing. That's what we're saying here. Okay. We were talking earlier, and it was decided that I just wanted to have fun today. Like, I just want to have fun. I mean, the broadcast really has to be fun, because if I'm having fun, it will be fun to, participate with the content, to enjoy the content, to, engage in whatever format, whatever network, however you feel comfortable engaging with the hashtag BenLive. I mean, some broadcasts I bring it up for you on screen, but, I'm not doing that today because we're just kind of hanging out and we're doing this. And so it's more of a this direction. If you want to talk, you get on the chat room. It's right there. We want you on the YouTube channel, the live feed link right there, benlive.tv. If you put benlive.tv into an address bar where you see an address bar, it'll come up and you'll see some kittens. We put those up there earlier. I deployed that just moments before the live broadcast today because I'm clearly the same procrastinator you've always known me to be. But I deliver high-quality content under pressure, even if it is an artificial pressure created by what I think are generally artificial deadlines anyway. What is time but our location in the universe? We've talked about that. That's the fourth dimension, and it's where we are relative to the other rocks floating through space. Duh! Who doesn't know that and understand it at a deep and intimate level? Don't we all ponder these things in our spare time? I'm just an average workaday service industry slob, so clearly this is just what we all think about, right? We all understand the relative nature of the place in the universe and the gravitational influences. You want to talk about the gravity's influence on time? Hey, let's talk about gravity's influence on time in an episode. Will that be a fun episode? Will you spend 3 hours listening to me talk about theoretical physics from mostly novice dabbling sort of interest, but also worth noting the application of that super processor we've talked about before, just overclocked, okay? Overclocked, cooking through the motherboard speeds today. And I'm bringing it to you live because some days this is the level of functionality that I have. And so I just want to enjoy it. I want to be happy. That was the conversation. That was the discussion. Today, I feel rested. I feel like I've taken a little bit of time away from the broadcast to kind of refocus and think about what we're doing and pet some kitties. And petting kitties is therapeutic. It's really relaxing. I mean, if you had the opportunity to become... if you had the opportunity to become the proud new friend for life of a hashtag feral, comma, kittens formerly known as, if you had an opportunity to become, a good friend of a fluffy or a stripey forever, I mean, obviously, you'd want to jump on that. So we're going to do the best we can to help make that a very enticing offer for you. We're going to socialize those little kitties, and we're going to give them a warm, welcoming environment where they can understand that humans offer love and food. And from there, they'll get it from there. That's what they need. Water. Give them water. Clean their litter. Don't just be like, I loved them and I gave them food and I don't know why. They're just sick and thirsty all the time. Ben Live told me just love them and give them food. That's all I did, and lo and behold. Oh, man. But you get what I'm saying, though. Play with them. You got to do that, too.
Don't ever have kids.
Don't ever have kids, but adopt these kittens. That's the moral of the story. So, explain to me again what it is that this conservative traditional value system has to offer me, Team Red. Explain to me again why I want to invest in, the schools that attempt to educate the overpopulation you're driving. I mean, don't get me wrong, like some people just kind of replace themselves and all that, and it's like a healthy, controlled whatever. And, okay, survive and procreate, that's cool, man. Hey, is what it is. But if you're out there duggering it up, and you think that for the next 30 to 40 years that we're just going to work our tails off to support the public sector daycare and support system for your unprepared spawn, that can't happen, right? We just can't do it. And certainly not going to do it in this way. So we're going to try to thin out these lines here, try to keep things going in a controlled, scalable fashion. At least for a little while, we should get things under control, right? Just to get an idea where we are moving forward in this current era, in a certain, because we see some other places that have just let things go unchecked for a while and things are getting out of control, and now they want to be like us, and then when they start doing what we did and go through what we're going through and become, it's going to get really out of hand. Really out of hand as these other major population density sort of nations advance and enhance themselves and evolve through time at their own pace, granted, but with our help, and we're going to throw in some major technological advantages there. We're going to make the mistake that the superstructure, megastructure, deep space neighbors are not making with us. They're not coming over and saying, oh, no, here you go. This is how you travel at solar power and just out into the cosmos to see who else is out there. No. They're not stopping by and doing that. They're just kind of letting us figure out how to get there. But here on Earth, we're just jumping into the jungles and we're going, hey, there's a cell phone, everybody gets a cell phone. Let's see what happens. So we're taking a different approach here on this rock. But, yeah, it's all terrestrial. What can it hurt? Right? It's all terrestrial. What can it hurt? Let's keep ourselves in perspective. Let's not get this sort of narcissistic, human-centric, world-focused view. I mean, obviously, we do have a global community we want to support and all of that, but we have to understand that we have a place. It's not necessarily just king of the castle, you know. We're not there. That's not us. I think that's something that's important for this very immature species to become aware of. And I don't know, I mean, what am I, just some jerk making up things? Yeah, of course I am. I'm a liar on the internet. Absolutely. Have you seen the lies on the internet? They're very interesting. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. I'm just going by the evidence. I'm going by the data. I'm going by what we're seeing and what we can theorize and extrapolate from the evidence we see. And so, in case you missed it, we did a superstructure, megastructure conversation. Looks like way out there, the energy of a star is being diverted in a way that is anomalous to nature as we have observed it thus far. Scientists are baffled. Leading theories, reasoned, logical theories. Hashtag Comcast Bell. Talk about power fluctuations. Maybe that's what we need to look into here.
I don't know, it seems to happen whenever I talk.
Yeah. It's the pitch. Oh, there's a P there, right? Yeah. 0K a second.
Mm-hmm.
Do I throw it to the away screen? Do I adjust my junk in front of it, maybe? Do I put my finger up my nose? Is that the solution? I mean, it's not giving me the software kick out, but it will. It sure will. Any moment now. We're seeing the kitty stall. We're seeing the block up. Watching the percentage climb. We're at like 9%. We're just dropping thousands of frames here. And boom, live. Live. You missed all that craziness. I was just commenting on what was... Somebody, okay. I'm putting 3,000 cats into a tube. Just pushing them out to the world. And somebody's over there just like squeezing the end of it. That's really rude. That's awkward. Don't do that. Let those cats free.
Don't be a tube squeezer.
Yeah, don't be a tube squeezer. Don't sit at home squeezing your tubes. Squeezing other people's tubes nonetheless. That's horrible. Let those cats flow. Let the cats out. Don't squeeze those tubes. Don't pinch off the flow of cats.
Be a cat blocker.
Don't be a cat blocker.
Cat blocker.
Yeah, not cack. Thank you, though. A little Boston in you. What?
Zombie mode.
No, that's actually foreshadowing. That is foreshadowing. It is indeed. Cack. Oh, she's gonna be. She has to be. It's where she's coming from. It's what. It's how they talked when they went down. It's what they're. Yeah. Oh no, God. This is gonna be the worst prep ever. Oh man, The Departed. I gotta watch The Departed. I'll put on The Departed and that'll be it. I'll be talking about Stades and this and that and the other. Oh well, you're about to. That's the if you're just catching up to what I'm alluding to. On Monday night, we are going to be attempting to live broadcast the debut of one of the most highly anticipated game titles of our young adulthood here, and of this decade, right? And it is based in a similar setting to the Departed. So I'm gonna go ahead now because I'm gonna do a narrative, and we're gonna have sort of an interesting take on the storyline for you to view that you can only view at benlive.tv. Obviously, the emergence of the storyline into the public eye is going to happen here as people explore out onto the map. But if you just jump on to benlive.tv and explore with us, we're going to try to have a fun go of it. We're going to put our own unique spin on our decision-making process. You're not just going to see, good, super good, neutral. No. Chaotic, neutral. Chaotic.
Even your girlfriend will want to watch.
Even your girlfriend will want to watch. benlive.tv, even your girlfriend will want to watch. Yeah. And so I hope you want to watch with her.
Politically correct.
Is that politically correct? No, not even close. But that's okay. We already decided earlier in the broadcast, in case you missed it, political correctness is sort of the scapegoat for the non-progressive. It's, you're just politically correct. You're like, no, maybe you're just backwards in thinking. Have you ever considered that we're moving forwards in our thinking and you're moving backwards in your thinking, or you're just at least staying stagnant while others are moving forward, and that's creating the illusion of you moving backwards? Boom, relativity delivered for you. If you know how physics works. If you don't, you're just like, he's a crazy person, he's a witch, let's burn him at the stake. Very fortunate to live in the time we live in. What? I really didn't catch that. Were you threatening my life?
Pyramids are not full of grain.
Oh God, yeah, no. Pyramids are not full of grain. You heard it here well after other established sources have published the data. The pyramids were not, in fact, Egyptian silos. Is that the basis, that if it's a large geometric figure, it's probably used to house grain? And then there's just this elaborate story that's been crafted around it through, I don't know, a pictograph, an ongoing pictographic representation. But whatever, hey, that's fine. It's not little, monochrome squiggly lines, so who are we to listen to it? Oh, wait, yes it is. Wait.
I mean, I like to store treasures in my grain silos.
Yeah, I keep treasures in my grain silos all the time. Dead bodies and treasures in my grain silos. That's where the grain goes. No wonder there were so many dead bodies, because they were storing their grain with their dead bodies. That's a good way to have more dead bodies.
That's probably why they died.
That's why they died, because they were under all that grain. And then...
Well, they were eating the grain that was stored with their dead bodies. They were storing the grain of the dead bodies in the same place. Is what I mean.
Right, yeah, that's horrible. That's not a good idea.
That's gross.
No, that's gross, yeah. You heard it here, again, not even close to first, but we're telling you, if you don't know this already, you don't want to store dead bodies and grain in the same place. Not even really treasure, because treasure, like money at that time, treasure was a currency. Gold, these sorts of exchanges, although it was kind of a valued barter exchange there, with precious metals and jewels and such and crafting, but, things with exchanged hands, goods that exchange hands. You don't keep that with your grain either. So don't keep your crown with your grain, I guess is what I'm saying. Don't keep your I don't even know what any of that stuff is called. Your scepters. I know that's not the right one. Your king paraphernalia, or queen paraphernalia, your royalty paraphernalia, whatever. Don't keep that in your grain silo either. And certainly don't write on the walls that this is where dead people are, just to fool them and get the future people off your scent. They're coming for your grain. You better lead them off the trail and tell them it's a tomb. Hey, no grain to see here, guys. Just a bunch of dead bodies. Keep on looking. Fucking idiot. Seriously. Hashtag libel. I'm sorry. That's the fact. That's just a liar on the internet. My existence is satire. Broadcasting live public internet for you as a journalistic sort of thing. Also minister. Got some religious. We got a lot of coverage here. We got a lot of. We just jump into the First Amendment and kick around a whole lot. All right. So we're gonna get some corporate people going on it as well eventually. Don't worry. But they're just wallowing in the First Amendment on our broadcast here. But it's a reality. It's the fact of the matter is that the most viable contender for the highest seat in the acting government of the United States of America, the corporate government of the United States of America, the highest office, the commander-in-chief, the highest position in the military of our government, the best suitor available from the red team, based on some polls, believes that the Egyptian pyramids were grain storage, and that we're just the entirety of history that we've known since then is they're built by Joseph Short Grain, and we're supposed to buy into that alternate history. But beyond that, lied, fabricated this West Point scholarship and study. That's significant. That's a big deal. I mean, you're disqualified from further contention for a job if you lie that blatantly in the interview process, right? Isn't that just standard?
Well, now hasn't he come out saying that, okay, maybe that was a lie, but now people are saying bad things about me and it makes me sad.
So he's doubled down and he blamed the people who were calling him out on his lies. He's saying, "Oh, how dare you say bad things about me? Bad like what? Calling you a liar? Don't do bad things and people won't." Yeah. If people exposing the truth is them saying bad things about you, then you should really consider what things about you can be said based on your actions and words. I perform it. This is live on TV, benlive.tv. I'm live on the internet for you. I'm going to record this. This is persistent throughout time. When the superstructure, megastructure ever shows up and they find the buried YouTube, Google hard drive time capsules that will contain this data, they're going to see, like, he was onto it. That one. Should have been watching benlive.tv. Because he was like, really? Grain silos? Really? Pyramids just hold grain. Yeah, that makes sense. Keep your dead bodies in there, though. It's a dual use space, okay? It's co-zoned as both permanent resting place of the ruling class and food storage.
It really adds, that special flavor of,
Special flavor. With all of the inbreeding and whatnot, they probably did enjoy their own flavors. I didn't even know where I was going until I got there. Right? That's live for you. Nothing nice. You can say that, right? Hey, I dropped an F-bomb talking about Carson earlier, and I just let that slide. I don't care. Whatever. I'm on the internet. You gotta be 13 and up, right? I think that's the rule. Don't smoke cigarettes. Pornography is bad. Right?
Don't touch yourself in public.
Don't touch yourself in public. Wear pants.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Before and after.
Before and after. Sometimes during, depending. All right. See? Right? Seriously. Just positive, open encouragement of just being healthy and happy, right? Let's just be healthy and happy here. So that's what I'm saying. We're just using words, just putting language together for you. Free-forming. Spoiler alert, required reading contains worse. I know because I actually read it. I don't just arbitrarily make decisions about what is or is not acceptable thought and conduct without, at least taking a preliminary understanding of the thoughts that have come before in the written context. Understand the context of your place in the universe, and you might find that you're better able to contribute. That's some really worldly philosophy coming from a registered jockey. Yeah, right. That's the reality. Living in reality. Live on the internet. Multitude of platforms. You can watch this on your consoles. You can watch this on your most PCs now. You're gonna have an HDMI, which you can use on any of these TV monitors. Your television system. A lot of people are already on a sort of subscription service based Netflix, Hulu, and now YouTube's going to sort of an ad-free format where you do a subscription, and they're going to work out the structures so a portion of that will come my way as well. So, if you read a lot of content through YouTube and it's worthwhile for you to just kind of strip the ads off of there, and you're not doing it in the, unsanctioned ad blocker sort of methodology, you want to be on the up and up, and you want to support the content creators, because that's the reality. You're hurting yourselves. We are hurting ourselves by thinking that we don't have to pay for content. We're eliminating the revenue streams that independent content creators rely on in order to bring you this content, in order to form these kernels that gain the attention of the assets and the resources that can really come in here and infuse some reach into what we're doing. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. This is sort of a ongoing on the internet billboard, 3 hours a daily-ish. Just saying, hey, I can do a lot more with my time. I have a lot more to offer. I've got verified skills. I've got portfolio stuff on the internet here, you know, and it's active. It's ongoing. Hours of content. You know, I'm screencasting coding, not just, you know, I've got some products of code out there, but for the most part, you know, I do a lot of prototyping and behind the scenes stuff. So you have to consider that, you know, a lot of what I do doesn't make it to the mainstream. But it's fun stuff. Interaction design theory, 3D scans. I'm gonna bring a lot of it. I'm gonna build the channels so that you can interact and engage with the content that we're creating here. And we're building the processes to distribute and deliver quality original content. It's got to be monetized for now. That's reality. You need the resources to survive. You need to be able to do this all day, every day for you, right? Isn't that what you want? I mean, you know, obviously you don't want me here broadcasting all day, every day. That'd be insane. And we're going to try to bring some other around the clock because we want a full channel. I just want a full channel. I'm looking at 24 hours a day. That's all. I just want a full channel. And it's not going to be all just on my back and on my metal. You know, I'm going to have other contributions. I'm going to have other, you know, packaged, you know, redone stuff or whatever. You know, I try to go the paid programming route. That's kind of ridiculous, but you know what I mean. Just bring in other content creators who want to share their content through this channel, through benlive.tv, who want to become a part of this and contribute in the way they can. If the way they can contribute is through their content and their art, that is exactly what we're talking about. That is exactly what we're trying to do here. Bring it. Want it. Just understand there's going to be open and honest criticism. This is the internet, which can be constructive from here, but it's not all going to be. That's the reality. You know, I got some other friends out there who are going to offer you some real constructive, honest criticism as well, and you should be prepared for that because it's really going to help you to improve yourself and better yourself. And I expect that. I get that. I'm asking for it, you know, and a lot of the stuff I get, I understand that if your idea is, oh, you should buy this nice, fancy, expensive thing, I get that. I probably agree. I can work it into the plans, but the reality is, like, we got some nice, fancy, expensive things that I have already set out. I've got a wish list. I got things that you can see on the project outline PDF. There is a budget in place. You know, we're looking at $10,000 for 1 quarter of operations, $4,000 for each ongoing quarter after that. There's a plan in place. Real technological upgrades and enhancements, content process ability enhancements. Enhancements. It's glitch in the software. 100100. 2. Oh, it's good. That's a good cup of red.
Yesterday's flat red.
Yesterday's flat red. Sugar water. It'll make your mouth wet enough to talk for 3 hours. Woo! Sugar water! Now I need more. I slurped up all my lubricant. Sorry. Please hold while I re-lubricate so that I can continue my live web broadcast because I've slurped up all my lubricant. I apologize. Let me moisten my mouth. Let me moisten up my mouth for you. I really apologize to the regular viewers who do not watch the webcast and just listen. Because at some point they're just like, all right, it's just him in the living room and the cat again. Fine. I'm going to go get something real done on another tab. And little did they know, all of a sudden they're going to hear slurping lubricant discussion. You know, I work on Saturdays. You said you'd warn us if it was not safe for work. Hey, I don't know where you work, man, but I don't agree with censorship because it's just words. Words are okay. If you're watching, hey, you see it. It's all you can. It's available. Full broadcast. If there was just a curtain here, the day that I show up and I've got, oh, I'm just a floating head on the broadcast today and just see a curtain flopping about, that's the day that you turn it off. Don't watch that broadcast. Why is Ben with his blanket on the internet? I don't know, but I think he's sleepwalking broadcasting. He's sleep broadcasting again. Oh, hashtag sleep broadcasting. BenLive.tv. Sleepcasting. Even better. Gonna try to do some overnight, multi-day marathon broadcasting Monday night, Tuesday morning. Technically Tuesday morning into Wednesday. We're gonna try to do some marathon broadcasting. So afterwards, I might be so exhausted, and I have to continue to work in the normal capacity as well. So I might be in some sort of delirious alternate state where I would sleepcast. And if you see that, engage in the chat room. Help share, comment, get us some audience, grow the audience.
That's usually why I remind you to shut the computer down when you're falling asleep.
Right, when I start nodding out here on the broadcast, then, let us know in the chat. Be like, hey, man, you just said some really, really horrible, irretractable things on the internet. You should probably go to sleep, and so you can wake up to the PR nightmare that awaits you. And then I will probably listen if you put it that directly. Need more. Red leather, yellow leather. Wendy wears a white wedding dress to the orgy. 11:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming to you from, looks like sunny St. Augustine, Florida. Live on the internet. Missed you the last couple days. Sorry, had to, sleep. I think some sleep happened at some point. Had to pet some kitties. Had to talk to that stupid waffle without calling her that stupid waffle. Because if you do that and you only address her as that stupid waffle, it really becomes a problem. She's been mentioning me in some horrible hashtags for the stupid waffle. But, I'm just into that click through, you know what I'm saying? Just click, click, click. 11:52 a.m. Okay, 8 more minutes. We just got to fill 3 hours. What else do we have?
Before the show today, when you were trying to come up with ideas for topics, you said you were going to
well thought out, well in advance, but then we just kind of discussed it a little bit beforehand. Don't get the idea I just throw this together on a shoestring, but I do.
You wanted to
I'm lying to you on the internet. It's all just
play around on Sue, but then we decided not to do
I
that.
did want to play around on Sue. I want to do new friends on Sue.
Maybe tomorrow you could focus on Sue.
Tomorrow we can do a Sue thing. Tomorrow, Sunday, it'll be a day that people are home. Sunday, Sue on Sunday. I can go and I can introduce you to some of our friends in Detroit. Obviously, we're going to engage those folks, but we're going to reach out there into the network at large because there's a larger, sprawling network that's bringing in a lot more people that are going to be disconnected from these existing trees. So they're going to be building out their own sorts of trees out there in the wild. And that's cool.
I think we have some new news about Sue, and now you don't have to.
We do have quite a bit. Yeah, you don't have to join. You can you don't have to join under anyone. You can get in there on your own and just be in your own self-sufficient sort of area there if that's what you want to do. If you want to build your own sort of thing, I guess they're just trying to make it more inviting, more appealing. I don't know what that's going to do for the network as far as the infrastructure, but we'll talk about that. We'll explore that. Yeah, definitely. We'll get into that tomorrow, and we'll talk to some of the influencers on the network, and we'll kind of explore some of the content that may have already visited this stuff before we get here. We're new to that network. I've got a lot of experience in the social media management mainstream world, but definitely newer to the Sue environment than some people. I mean, the network's been going for over a year now. I also want to visit Empower. I think if we're talking about Sue, it's a good opportunity to also talk about Empower because these are our alternative revenue streams. Okay, if you don't know what Sue is, it is a monetized revenue distributing social media network where the ad revenue becomes a revenue stream for the content creator, for you, for the user on the network. Okay, on Empower, it's a similar sort of mechanism, but it's built around more of an online auction marketplace. So it's similar to an eBay where you can broker ads and make some money. And I'm turning over. I mean, now that granted they start you off with some ad credits and whatnot, and so it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how it's sustained moving forward. But so far, I mean, I'm turning over like $30 days, $40 days. I mean, that's like half of what I'm doing out there. Like, that's some serious enhancement. That's something that if I can get that stabilized. I mean, granted, there's a 90-day maturation process on those sorts of assets, but I don't see them depleting. I just see, it's going to take me 90 days to see that, but in 90 days, I'll still want $40 that day more than not $40 that day, right? So we'll see. You know, you're gonna be here for that, right? BenLive.tv. I bought a year on the domain, so I figure I'm gonna at least try to be going for a while here, and we'll see how Empower goes, and we'll see when we can start just moving that over into the PayPal for starters, because that'll be really interesting to try to fund this broadcast off of just alternate revenue stream opportunities that anyone can go emulate. I mean, I can show you how. You can watch how we've done it. It's all documented. I mean, sure, okay, 3 hours a day, that's a lot of time, but you know, you binge watch garbage on Netflix, and what I'm doing here, what I'm trying to do, hopefully will be the mechanism and the process by which we can all lift ourselves out of this sort of less than desirable labor market, right? An exploitative labor market, maybe. Maybe I go as far as the labels up, but it's just the existing economy, okay? Wherever you are, whatever your position is in the economy, if you're not in like a 6-figure plus area, you're probably just, wanting to be. You know, and if you're in a sub 18,000 area, you're wanting to be higher. And I talked to somebody in the wild today out there in the meat space, and he said that he's right in the 25, 26 region, and they're hitting him hard now, where he wasn't getting taxed where he was in the whole poverty now, but now he's emerged out of it. What he's getting hit with, the expectations because he's not in poverty, are just bringing him right back to it. And that doesn't seem equitable. That doesn't seem like for starters, that doesn't seem like a good place to start doing that. I think that, still, as long as you're under like 30,000, 40,000, I mean, it's still kind of ridiculous. I mean, people have families, okay? Amanda and I are budgeting ninjas, and we survive on what we have, and by, the good fortune and of others. But we're hungry a lot. Yeah, we spend a lot more time hungry than two adults should in America, And so we're not, like we say all the time here, we don't have broken legs, but that doesn't make the broken arms heal. So we're aware that other people have it worse, but that doesn't mean that we don't want them to have what we have and better, because I think we all should want to have better for ourselves and others. So, yeah. This isn't crazy talk. I don't think it's crazy talk. It's been kind of rapid fire. It might be a lot to absorb. 3 hours is kind of intense with me. Anyone who knows me knows that, but, there's value. There's value in there. So we're going to try to distill some of it. Glad that I got the packaged video stream worked out. The packaged video content, I think, can be really beneficial for us moving forward. So be sure, if nothing else, we'll get there. We'll get there, but we have to keep that, because I've told you there's one more cocoon that we have to go through. But yeah, the moving forward, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna try to enhance things here. Yeah, we got BenLive.tv to work with. Check it out, BenLive.tv. In any address bar, any device that's responsive. It's just a basic placeholder at the moment, but it's a very important stopping point. It's a water cooler for us to congregate around on a daily-ish basis. And, you can see we got a new video up there, BenLive intro. It's embedded in there. What is that? 3 minutes and 38 seconds, okay? That's an easy one for you to go view. Go to the YouTube, share it up, put it out there on the networks, let people know. That was just the intro to what we're doing today. Maybe I'll try to refine this and get something that's more of a general intro for BenLive.tv moving forward. But, this is the first go of it. I actually call it Catch Row 1, so I had the understanding that there would be more Catch Rows in the future. But it's 11:59 a.m. I know that the clock's going to turn over. Time does march forward. We are continuing to change ever in a different place. We are never in the exact same position in the universe. So that's what time is. That's the fourth dimension that we're continuing to notch off incrementally. However it is you measure it. You can't really, we have to measure it in more of a theoretical space, in this kind of revolutions of the planet and our kind of local, hyper-local understanding. But the reality is it's just, it's a larger map than that. So we're hitting noon. It's noontime. And BenLive.tv, 3 hours on Saturday. Relaxed broadcast. It's been fun. Going to enjoy the rest of my Saturday because, I don't have as much weekend time this week as I'd like because I'm investing that time in a real fun Monday and Tuesday. something really exciting I'm looking forward to. And you know, it might not happen to you know, we're cobbling this together on a very limited budget, and it's I really want to make this happen for you. I really do. And so I'm going to do everything I can to pull it together, and I'm making sure to maintain contact with our silent contributor and the person who's making this possible from a hardware asset, a borrowing, leasing, temporary sort of situation. But moving forward, we'd like to make it a permanent opportunity for us because, God, you know, I'm going to be hooked, right? 2 days, oh man, because he's going to want to play, you know. He's already had it pre-ordered before I brought the idea to him, and so he was just like, well, you know, I can give you a couple days to do that, but man, I got to get that thing back. You know, obviously you already had it pre-ordered. Like, this is, you know, we all want to play this game. I want to play it in a way that creates kind of a unique narrative for you. I think that'll be a fun experience. It'll just be an experiment to see, you know, what kind of content streams we can deliver, where the audience is, what the interest is. You know, we'll have some numbers to look at and such, and so hopefully it won't be something that takes over. But hey, you know, if the audience is there, if that's what people want, and that's where the ad revenue is, and that's what liberates us, then yeah, absolutely. And I love video games. User experience, user interaction, interaction design, user interfaces. Like that's what video games are. Like, people lied to you for decades and told you that video games are bad for you. Video games are very good for you. You learn a lot about technology. You learn a lot about problem solving and creative storytelling and engaging in alternate sort of just thought experiments, as well as teamwork. Yeah, teamwork. Oh man, some of the teamwork. Yeah, and the hand-eye coordination, the very tangible things, problem solving. Yeah. No, one of the memory. One of the real accomplishments that I felt I really got that kind of just instinctual trajectory when I was playing the tanks war games, the World of Tanks. I got really heavy into that free-to-play games. A lot of people play PC and all that, but it came to the consoles, and I got pretty skillful with just, you know, hitting a target, moving in motion in real time with just in a position that will do damage at angles, and there's just so many things going on, so many variables going on in some of these video games that if you can wrap your brain around all of it and work in that real-time space, it makes just English communication and thought processing seem like a novel concept. I'm going to do both at the same time for you because I have a dual processor run. Quad core, I dare say. But, yeah. Hyper-threading. No, is that old tech? I don't know, whatever. Yeah. I need a better super cooler. In case you can't tell at home. Oh, man. We always have overhead lighting issues. We're going to deal with that in the studio.
I've got the
enhancements.
air turned up because of the kittens.
Yeah, the kittens were cold, so we're sweating here on BenLive.tv with the equipment running for you. But it's okay because it's 12:03 and we're done. It's Relaxed Broadcasts, 12:03 p.m. We talked about politics. We talked about why should we be on the red team. We talked about our kittens, formerly known as #Feral. We showed you some video of it. We got the video for you on BenLive.tv. We really get to the point on there. 3 minutes, 38 seconds, and we show you 3 small little video clips of the kittens and proof of concept for the package video content distribution process, which is something that you might like to stay tuned to see more of. Because the current YouTube ad view monetization structure before the YouTube Red really takes off and the subscription service really takes off, we're still just trying to click, get some views. So 3.5 minutes, a little bit better than 3 hours plus, change. BenLive.tv, thank you for watching today. As always. And it's funny, I was laughing earlier. I was watching Stephen Colbert do this, but I was doing this before, and friends of the show know before. I was telling you, I love you guys. I love the audience. I've been saying that. Like, I've sat here and cried and told you I love you. If you've been here for some of the more emotional episodes. That's reality. Back in, Ben TV days and the different times of the productions. And, we try to live in the real world here. There's a full spectrum of fun.
Not afraid of our emotions.
Not afraid of our emotions. Fully evolved human being. Fully mature. Fully aware of the reality that I'm living in. And just, I'm sharing it to you in an honest way. I'm not going to deny you any facet of myself because that would be dishonest. I'm just going to be out here and talk to you. Still going to be content control. Not going to, not going to show you the filthy underbelly, but you don't want to see that.
That one.
Yeah, that filthy underbelly is going to be on screen. We'll be back 9 a.m. to noon tomorrow, making new friends on Sue, talking about monetized social networks and marketplaces, ad brokering on internet marketplaces, and generating alternative ad revenue streams, affiliate marketing. Maybe we'll get into some of that sort of revenue space, because we're open to all sorts of ideas here at benlive.tv. We just want to generate the revenue streams that will allow us to do this, to bring this content to you, because I love you, and I like to share my life with you, and Amanda enjoys sharing her life in a little bit more limited way, but by proxy, through what we do here, you get to see a window into her life too, and she's very kind to share that with you as well. I appreciate what she does. So, thanks guys. Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow. benlive.tv. Watch the cat videos. It'll take a second for this one to load in because of that oh so enjoyable slideshow. Ben Live. Live 9 a.m. until noon EST. Eastern Standard Time. Riding on the backs of 3,000 cats per second at 30 frames per second. Hashtag original content. Hashtag Ben Live. Join the conversation. We'll be back at 9 a.m.